Alrighty, people. What's happening? It's a Thursday night for y'all. It's a Friday morning for us, and either way, the week is coming to a close, and we're excited to have y'all with us. It's gonna be a good stream, and it wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you so much for being here with us and for hanging out. Do us a favor, as the stream starts, go ahead and hit that like button. We see you in the chat. Rolling Stoned. What's up, brother?
Feeling?
Is what he says.
What's up, brother?
It's like a cult now, honestly. It's funny, the other day, I was laying in bed and Karina turned over to me. She had her AirPods in and she said, "What's up, brother?" And I was like, "What the f-?" And she was like, "What does that mean to you?" I was like, "Do you know that person?" There's like this TikTok trend where wives are going to their husbands and saying, "What's up, brother?" and seeing what they...
Yeah.
So,
Ellen's definitely done that to me already. And
pretty funny.
she knows the whole thing as well.
Yeah.
It's great.
What's up, Andrew? What's up, Lazy Bones? It has gotten a little bit out of hand, hasn't it? We appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got some leaked news overnight, and no, we're not talking Juju Smith-Schuster type of leaked news. This one's actually a little bit exciting. The Lions' new uniforms were leaked. It kind of looks similar to the older Lions uniforms, you know, like Barry Sanders' day. This blue in particular reminds me a lot of like that Barry Sanders blue back in the day. But I think it looks good. I really didn't like their lettering. I really didn't like how gray their number was. So I'm a fan of it. That black, I could take it or leave it, but I think it's nice, and I'm glad they keep that classic in rotation. Got that blue alternate helmet as well. That's pretty cool. It's almost like a I don't want to hurt any Lions fans. This looks like a Panthers uniform, the black one a little bit. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's a little bit like the Panthers.
Yeah, I definitely see it now.
But it's still
I like it though.
nice.
I think I like the whole thing. I was
Same.
just watching the little preview that they had of the announcement of all the jerseys, showing the little details that they put on their Twitter. And I like it. I like the black jerseys. I mean, I like the whole thing.
I think this is much better.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good new feel for the Lions, and it's a whole new era for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're playoff caliber, you know? One game away from the Super Bowl.
Why not? I mean, why not Super Bowl caliber? That's you know, new jerseys, new team, new city. You know, we're feeling it out. But we appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Big Dog's in the chat. Timothy's in the chat. Big Dog says, "Keep the lights on. Join the flock." We appreciate you, man. What's up, Robert? What's up, Steele? What's up, Danny? Lazy says, "I'm chilling. Been a long week. We're out, but we're 1 week out. Where's the Macy official countdown?" Yeah, he's not here. Why do we don't pay that guy anything? We don't pay him anything. That's why he's not here. But he is our official NFL draft countdown expert. But we appreciate y'all big time. I see you, Chase, see you, Maddie in the chat as well.
How are you doing?
But that is right. We are going to be reviewing Dynasty teams tonight. If you want your Dynasty team reviewed, I'll put a direct link in the chat. Whether you're watching this later or you're watching it right here on the live stream, you can click that link and sign up right now. But it's very simple. Everyone's team that we reviewed tonight, they are a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. So, not only do you get a Dynasty team review, but you also get our rookie report, which will be finalized after the NFL draft. You guys will have every resource necessary to dominate your rookie drafts. You get access to our rankings, our premium trade calculator. You get to be a part of our Dynasty trade show. You unlock our entire Discord channel. And of course, you're keeping the lights on. Just like Big Dog said, you're keeping the lights on for Badaki and myself, helping us do this full time and hopefully supporting our families from it. So again, if you want your Dynasty team reviewed, that is the way that you go about getting it done. So we appreciate y'all big time. Michael's in the chat. He says, "Love the new Lions, baby." What's good, boys? What's good, Michael? Good to see you, man.
Hey, what's good, brother? How you doing?
Steven says, "Meanwhile, Seattle is over here refusing to come out with the new unis. The throwbacks were nice. I loved those Seattle throwbacks. Those are some of my favorite in the entire thing."
Yeah, a lot of teams are going into having alternate uniforms or just revamping their stuff, which
Well, you
is
know they
exciting.
added a third helmet option. Did you hear that?
The
NFL, you can
the
now have
Seahawks.
three. No, the NFL in general, you can
Oh,
have three helmets
NFL.
now. So that's why a
No,
lot
I
of
did
teams are
not.
coming up with it.
Did you see the Texans one?
The Houston one, yeah, that was cool. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool too.
Yeah,
I liked it. I'm interested in what jersey they're wearing with that
I
because
thought about that. Well, they're getting new jerseys. You know that too, right?
no, I did not. Gosh,
Yeah.
I mean, why am I not hearing this? Why am I not seeing this?
Come on, keep up. I mean, I guess I'm the fashionista here. You know, it's showing. We're showing our true colors. I'm just kidding, but. You know, what I was thinking is every time a new team drops a jersey, I just get more and more sad for the Commanders because it is by far the worst jersey in all of sports. Like, I genuinely don't think there's a worse jersey in all of sports than the Washington
It's actually
Commanders jersey.
one of the newest and one of the ugliest.
It's by far the worst, but hopefully a change comes. You know, honestly, I could get into the Commanders brand if it was branded well. It was branded so poorly. That's the problem. Anyway.
Yeah, we gotta wait and see what happens there.
Enough fashion talk. We are looking at your teams tonight. And again, if you want to get your team reviewed, I'll put a direct link in the chat for you. And it's also in the description if you're watching later. But the first team that we are looking at here today is, if I believe it is, Money Team. Money. Hey, if Raj Joan and MVRCO, it's a tradition now, every stream. If they are out there, we're just waiting on information from y'all. Your team review is ready. We just can't get in contact with it. It's been a couple months. Well, it's been a month probably, but your team review is ready. We just don't got your info. So, first on deck is Money Team. Money Floyd Mayweather is ready to dominate his Dynasty team. And he's come to us saying, hey, y'all got any ideas? What y'all thinking? So what's the context here?
Yeah, let's break it down here. We appreciate you, Money Team. SuperFlex 10 team Dynasty League start 11. It kind of breaks it down here. You can start up to, it looks like 3 wide receivers. Yeah. No, start 11. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, no tight end premium. And then 2 flex. So 5 wide receivers. So I think he put, you see where it says 2 wide receivers, RB tight end? That is the flex. Could have just said flex.
Oh, okay. Right. I
you get what I'm saying? I was confused.
No, so he's saying they have a regular flex and they have another flex that you can only start a wide receiver or a tight end.
Yeah. So you technically can start 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers here.
I wonder the reason for the mayhem. Okay, so we know no tight end premium, but what I'll do is I'll just make it a little more simple for you and I. I'll say 2 flex, and then
yeah, that was a bit confusing.
The other flex is just like basically only wide receiver or tight end. So
yeah, exactly.
Essentially, you can start 3, 6. You can start 6 wide receivers.
Yeah, and it's super flex.
So start 11. So it's a bigger lineup for sure.
It is a big lineup. He says I have picks. With all these picks, okay. He said got Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Jones, and Fields.
He's showing us his team.
Okay, he just breaks down his team. Yeah. Okay, he says I finished last and have a completely new roster after 30 trades and acquired tons of picks through the off season. Okay, well, he kind of gives us his team. Doesn't really give us a direction. I'm assuming he just wants to get better. Yeah. Let's look at the
and I think he will be in the chat, and if he is, let us know. That might be Danny. This might be Danny Riddle here. By the way, speaking of a lot of trades happening, the Delta League is popping off right now. I mean, it feels like every day there's like 3 or 4 trades. I'm a part of that. Y'all know I got the 101. Badaki has been selling off assets like he's preparing for the next nuclear,
yeah, I'm
event.
I'm all in.
He's just buying.
And I still got pieces to move. I still got pieces. Come get Drizzy Drake from me.
I like Drake London, but I'm not going to give you the 101. So there's not really a deal to be made. I mean, I have the 101. Not really a deal. I think I have the 107 or the 109, but I don't know. Maybe there's a deal to be made there with some other assets. I don't know. You tell me, but.
I need a little bit more than the 107 if you want Drizzy. But we'll talk about it. Danny is in the chat, or Money Team is in the chat. It looks like.
It's
me.
Let's have a look.
I have 1 pick. Yeah, let's have a look.
It is
here.
a
Let's
Tin
have a
Man,
look
by the
at
way.
his
That
team.
um
Yeah.
yeah, so Tin Man does change some stuff.
Tin Man SuperFlex. He says team name is Marv in Neighbor Show, which he is ranked number 199th overall. Pretty top heavy. Really, the first 3 teams are the guys that are competing essentially.
Yeah.
It looks like, and the rest kind of just falls off here.
Oh,
So let's
37 overall ranked guy here. Poor guy.
Yeah, praying for you.
There's
brother.
always one.
I mean, he has a lot of picks in 25 and 26, though. It looks like. Anyways, at the quarterback position here for Money Team, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Daniel Jones. We like the starting two. Yeah, 100%. Starting 2 quarterbacks here with Justin Fields. We always like to say, get a third quarterback, and you have Justin Fields, who we both believe could get some playing time this year, and Daniel Jones if they don't draft a quarterback in the NFL draft. At the running back position, Josh Jacobs, Brian Robinson, James Conner, Austin Eckler, Chuba Hubbard, J.K. Bobbin like I'm Dobbins. The resurrection of Bobbin like I'm Dobbins is back here
in Los Angeles, and
yeah,
like I said on the stash video when I told y'all to stash him or pick him up if he's on any waivers. Now's the time. I said stash him, and as soon as he signs for a running back needy team, sell him straight away for whatever you can get. Now is the time to sell him if you have him. But we'll talk about that. Sorry.
We'll definitely talk about it. The running back room is not terrible. I like Josh Jacobs and Brian Robinson with James Conner. This is more like a win now type of running back room, it feels like. But we could potentially get better here. So let's wait and see what we are looking at. Nico Collins. Once again, you can start up to, what is it? 6 wide receivers. So Nico Collins, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Richie Rich, Stephon Diggs, Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, Quentin Johnston, Curtis Samuel. All these guys, that's 7 decent wide receivers, by the way. But yes, some of these guys are in question. What's going to happen with Jackson Smith? What's going to happen with Nico Collins now that Stephon Diggs is here? You have 2 Texans wide receivers who are going to be starting on a week-to-week basis, which potentially makes it a little bit more difficult. I love Christian Kirk. Does Jahan Dotson and Quentin Johnson take the next step into the 2024 season with potentially their new quarterback, their new offensive coordinator, etc.? A decent running back, a wide receiver room, but no heavy hitters. It feels like that you can lean on at the moment. I'm not sure how you feel, but that's where I'm kind of getting it. And his team name is Marv in the Neighbor Show, which means that you're going to be going back to back here at the wide receiver position, which
I think it's a good room.
Could easily change it.
It is a start 6. So, yeah, there's no like consensus top 12 guy, but I don't know. Is it biased? I don't know. I still think Rashee Rice is going to be a star in this league. I don't know. I still don't. Sure. There's no reason for me to not feel that way. Diggs, he could be a top 20 guy this year, maybe top 15 with all those weapons. Nico, that Diggs trade was probably your least favorite trade of the offseason if you have this team because you had Nico already. Yeah. But I actually think it's a good room. You're right. We could add some studs. And then Evan Ingram and Pat at tight end, which is totally fine. We love Evan Ingram. It's funny. We were talking about that's a rant that we don't need to go on. But anyway, this is a good team. This is a good team. And you are already just with this squad, probably not. You're making the playoffs probably with this squad. You're probably not winning a championship. But look at all the picks. That is what could really put us over the top. I mean, by the way, he has 2 firsts in 25, 2 firsts in 26. He's got multiple seconds in future drafts. And we can improve this team drastically. I noticed he had a pick from someone named My Balzac Ertz. We have someone in one of our follower leagues, so that's their username.
Yep.
I don't think it's that person because it's a very common name. Like, it's a very common name for people in fantasy. But
it's kind of spelled a little bit differently as well.
Yeah. But anyway, let's have a look at the draft capital. We'll go to the whiteboard here. You got a lot of picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in round 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 in round 2. First thing I would suggest is, especially with it being a 10-man league, this 5th round, I don't know. I guess 5th round actually makes a little more sense because it is a 10-man. I'm curious how deep the benches are. But anyway.
The benches are, yeah.
So, stick and pick. It sounds like he wants to go Marv at the 101. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's probably what he wants to do.
his team name is Marvin and Neighbors, so I'm assuming that's kind of the route he's going to go. I want to see who has the 102 here to see maybe if we can potentially make a trade. But yes,
as someone who owns the 101, I will tell you moving to the 102 is actually kind of tough, but you can always try it. It depends on your league.
Team 8 has the 102 here,
and they captain Save a Williams, so they need Caleb Williams. But they could also be really happy, I assume. Like, look, Jordan Addison's their number 1, then Godwin. So I don't think you have all that much leverage, to be honest. Danny says Marv at 1 and Neighbors at 2. I know the guy with the number 2 overall pick. So Danny, you think Marv is? You think Neighbors is going to?
No, I think he meant to say 3. So Marv at 1 and Neighbors at 3. I know the guy with the 2nd.
Okay, so maybe clarify that for us. Chase made a really funny point too. Yeah, he also has no leverage with a team name like that. Yeah, wouldn't suggest that in general. You know, I know you're in your head you're probably I'm taking Marv no matter what, but just in general to extract as much value as possible, I wouldn't necessarily suggest naming your team the guy you're taking. But okay, you look at this team and Marvin makes all the sense in the world. But if you guys have been watching our channel for the last couple weeks, last couple months, in my opinion, the consensus 101 is Caleb Williams. I'm happy to be wrong about that, but number 1, talking about him as a prospect, you know, he is a Trevor Lawrence level prospect, a Andrew Luck level prospect in my grades. Okay? Maybe that doesn't mean too much, but think about all the other NFL draft analysts that you love and trust. Go see what they say about Caleb Williams, right? Maybe you don't trust me as much, but this is a generational level prospect, in my opinion, as is Marv. But you got a number 1 overall pick who's stepping into what I would say is the best situation ever for a number 1 overall pick. We could waste time and talk about the weapons Caleb is stepping into, but still, even if I had this team, I would be taking Caleb Williams. And it's funny because T-Gray is in the chat right now, and he owns the 102 in the Delta League. I own the 101, and I'm fairly confident that he wants Caleb Williams. I'm also fairly confident that LT Gray watches our content, and he will have heard me say time and time again that if I have the 101, I'm going to take Caleb Williams.
LT Gray, why are you wasting your time, brother? Come get Drake London. Anyways.
I'm just looking at these offers.
You don't want Caleb, you want Drizzy.
Not a huge fan of these, but I'll think of a counter, T-Gray. You said a 3-hour clock on that. That might expire. I don't know how long we'll be live, but think of a counter.
Kirk Cousins?
I mean, I can't give up Puka to hope that one of these guys will be Puka and give you an extra draft pick. That doesn't make sense. The Pittman one is interesting. I'm gonna send you a quick counter here.
As Zach is doing that.
But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that even in leagues where I have the 101, if I'm sticking there, I am taking Caleb Williams, even if I don't need Caleb Williams, because ultimately I think that is the most valuable asset, whether I keep it or whether I sell it, right? So that is my philosophy. You can agree, you can disagree with me, that's fine. But I mean, even if you think about it in this light, guys, like think about Justin Jefferson. Could you have thought of a better 2 to 3 year start for an NFL wide receiver ever in their career? But yet, does he ever go top 3 in SuperFlex drafts? He doesn't. Right? I mean, CJ Stroud last year was a quarterback 7 on a per game basis, and he's a consensus top 3 pick now. You know, and I get it because of the history. It's historic what he's done. But ultimately, I just don't know that I would be willing to not draft Caleb Williams. Now, I could be wrong. Danny says that he's a huge Buckeye fan. So it sounds like he's going Marvin regardless. So I won't go on my soapbox. It's not what I would do, but it doesn't mean it's wrong.
And just to give my 2 cents, I've always been on the side of I think either of these guys can go 101. I think the NFL draft is going to dictate that based off where Marvin goes. Like, Danny, ask yourself, are you going to still take Marvin Harrison Jr. if he goes to the Patriots? I think a lot of people would then pivot a different way. Some people would,
Sure.
some people wouldn't. But I think everyone will take Marvin Harrison Jr. absolute lock guaranteed, depending on your team at the 101 if he goes to the Chargers, if he goes to the Cardinals. So all based on landing spot for me when it comes down to Marvin and Caleb, or where Marvin goes specifically. Once we find that out, then I'm happy to go either way. But yes, for this team build, from what I am seeing,
Steven, sorry.
I would also say I would be taking Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the good news is, by the way, even if you take Caleb at 1, I mean, there's still a chance you get Neighbors at the 103. So, I don't know. But at the end of the day,
personally,
yeah.
No, and I'll get to this in the trade. I'd personally be drafting Caleb and shopping Trevor, but we can talk about that later.
I don't hate that idea, but the reason I am not in love with it is because his value I don't think equates to what he's actually worth right now. But that is a different conversation. So anyway, he's gonna go. It sounds like he's an Ohio State guy. He wants Marvin, so it sounds like he's gonna get Marvin and Malik. Now he mentioned that he wants JJ at the 108. You and I have talked about this a lot in the last 2 months. Don't expect McCarthy available at the 108. There's many scenarios where he's not available at the 108. Right?
Yeah.
That scenario being the Vikings trade up to grab him. Maybe he falls to 11. Unlikely at this point. And the Vikings grab him there, right? So this is what it sounds like you want to do. All I'm saying is be prepared for that not to potentially happen.
Yeah, you have to be prepared.
And I guess that would make Brian Thomas Jr. the 110.
Brian Thomas Jr. 110. He also has the 109. Which could also, I would even say the 108 could potentially be Brock Bowers. I think I'm a big believer that Brock Bowers is going to fall, and I think all these tight end or quarterbacks and wide receivers are going to have better landing spots than Brock Bowers. But he will be available there at the 108, potentially with JJ McCarthy, like you said. Brian Thomas Jr. at the 110, or at the 109, and then at the 110, Adonai Mitchell, Lamar Conkley, the Xavier Worthies. And in this format, potentially, depending on where they land, a running back. Is that Trey Benson? Does Trey Benson fall to the Cowboys? I think he sneaks into the first round if he does go to the Cowboys. But just really depends on where these guys land. But always take best player available, we like to say.
And it's kind of funny because if you're, I don't know, like just my personal opinion, if you don't go Caleb at the 101, you are putting yourself in a position where you're going to take a lot of wide receivers, and that's fine. But you could end up with like 5 of your first 6 picks being wide receiver, and there's no problem with that at all. But I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. I've been really thinking about how you can get to that 102, get capital.
You know what, though? Like, see, here's my other issue with it is, again, like, if I take Caleb at the 101, that guy now decides between Marv and Neighbors. Y'all know I got Neighbors and Marv in the same tier. So I know I'm getting one of those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I let's just put your plan here, and I'll just say what I would do. Doesn't mean you have to follow it, but you'll have it in there in case it intrigues you. Okay. Here's what Zach would do. Maybe I think you'd agree. You agreed with me, right?
Yeah. I said I would take Caleb Williams in this build, in this scenario. And that's because I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence guy. I would rather have Caleb Williams right now coming out of college. Caleb Williams is higher than Trevor Lawrence in my rankings. That's before I know that landing spot. So I think he is a better talent when you look at this quarterback room. So yes, I would be taking Caleb Williams, and then, like I said, hopefully trying to shop Trevor Lawrence, whether that's in season or after the NFL drafts, or before or now, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and all these picks would be a true BPA from that point out. I mean, you're in a great position where you don't have to like force anything on your roster. But this feels much better as far as like we're extracting the most value out of every single pick to me. Because, again, you're still ending up with Malik or Marvin. I mean, if Malik and Marvin, let's say Marvin goes to the Cardinals, Malik goes to the Chargers, or Malik goes to New York, like, I don't know, dude. I still think you're extracting the most value out of this. And then if JJ's a Viking, okay, that means Rome Odunze is getting pushed down the board maybe. Maybe Brock Bowers is available at the 108, you know? So that's probably what I would do, but I get it if, you know, you're a Buckeye guy and that's what you want to do. I really don't think there's like a trade down here, though. I was trying to think about that. I don't see a trade down here.
There's no trade down. There's no trading off people that I would want here. I think there's one person I'll be happy to, two people I could potentially trade off from to try and get some sort of value. But at the moment, I would agree. Those two people for me will be Trevor Lawrence and Stephon Diggs. But I agree with you, and Trevor Lawrence's value is not going to be where it's at. It could rise in season, and Stephon Diggs as well. The reason why I say Stephon Diggs is because I just want to eliminate these guys, these multiple players on the same team. Now, you don't have to. I still believe in Nico Collins. I do believe he's going to be, I think we had that conversation if you were with us, when it came down to the Stephon Diggs trade. But yeah, those are the two guys I'll be willing to pivot off of. But everyone else, I think you should go with your draft capital.
I'll be honest, like, this is a team that I wouldn't be opposed in a scenario 3 of, like, maybe one or two of these picks, trading them for real vets, you know? Not that you have to, but not the 101, but really, like, starting from the 109. I'm kind of really interested in trading these for some vets. Not to say that you have to. Let's say we trade two of these picks. I mean, at the 109, can I add something to get Laporta? You know? Can I add the 109 and the 201? Would you do that with this squad, 10-man?
Yeah. I think the wide receiver room is leaning more heavy here, and I think the fact that he has Evan Ingram, I think, makes me really happy at the moment. I don't think he has to make a trade for Sam Laporta. Now, I would agree that, like, 10-man, you want the heavy hitters, but since you can start up to 6 wide receivers, and we really only have, if we think about it, we have 2 players we're comfortable starting. We can talk, maybe we can even squeeze 3.
I disagree, because we're getting Marvin at a minimum. We might get a Dunze. Or Marvin or Malik.
And I think I would be doing that trade once I know I'm getting these guys. Now, if at the 108, let's hypothetically, Rome is not there because he got taken at the 107, then you take Brian Thomas. Like, then do we want to do that trade?
I'd rather take Brock Bowers and Brian Thomas at that point, you know?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So maybe it's not worth doing that trade now and rather waiting. But, like, I take everything apart, like, away, I would do that trade. I like that trade for Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I think in a 10-man, if I can get, you know, one of these guys who's making a difference on a weekly basis, it's interesting to me. But Danny says it will be Bowers. It will be Bowers at 8, I believe, or JJ or Rome, yeah. So that's like an option. But even if we just look at the 109.
Kedar George, my guy.
Is Kedar in the chat? Hey, he is in the chat. What's up, brother? He actually heads up our campus, our Florida campus.
Yeah, Florida. Shout out to the Florida campus, huh?
But, you know, names like, let's see what the Flock Fantasy community thinks here at the 109. I know we all think Mitchell's going to smash, Worthy's going to smash, McConkey's going to smash, but you can also, like, trade it for a player already in the NFL. Like, for example, like your Jordan Addisons, right? Like, what about DJ Moore? Some leagues, DJ Moore is super cheap, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy to do a trade like that, no question.
DJ Moore, Addison. I mean, I would add a couple other names in there. You already have Rashee Rice, so we can't really go target him on the cheap. But
I think he's around that, the Addison range, the Jackson Smith and Jigba range, which he has.
Devonta Smith is probably more expensive than that, but I would even be comfortable with him now that he's got that contract. Like, he's probably more expensive. Zay Flowers, you can't get Ayuk. Zay Flowers, I'd be comfortable with. So, like, just hitting on a player you know is already producing in the NFL. Even if you just use one of these picks to do that move, you know?
Yeah.
That would really, really interest me. I mean, you could even go like the 201 range, and you could go for more of a veteran.
He said I tried to trade Nico and picks for Devonta Smith. I'm assuming that didn't happen.
Okay.
Obviously.
Would you trade the 201 for like a Deebo Samuel in this scenario?
Yep.
That's kind of the only name that really stood out to me there, actually.
Well, I guess the 201 would be difficult because that's a prime range for running backs, where his running back room is decent for us. But if you can get Benson or Brooks there, I think I would want to keep that. But yes, I'm happy to do that trade if he liked that.
Yeah, at the 207, like names that come to mind, like Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, another name that comes to mind. So all I'm saying is like you can do a mixture of picks here. You know, as hard as it is to hear right now, not all these picks are gonna hit. Yeah, like history tells us not all these picks are gonna hit. But what's up, Gidar? Danny says I tried to. Okay, right. I would, but that owner is stingy. I'm going for Benson and Brooks possibly. Yeah, I like that too.
Right.
So yeah, just options that you can explore. I mean, also, I think this team is in a position where they could really benefit from like a Saquon Barkley at the 109.
That's what I was gonna say, because the team 10 has Saquon Barkley, and he doesn't have any draft capital in this draft.
Yeah.
So that 109, can you send Saquon for that 109? And then that makes your running back room stronger, and you still keep those top 2 picks.
He says he traded Barkley away. Damn.
So
Barkley would be a perfect fit for this team. But another move, like, I would be super interested if we could, like, to me, Barkley is a perfect fit, just like you said. But I almost want to try and take advantage of this guy and get his 25 first. And we're gonna get Saquon plus his 25 first. I'm gonna send him the 109 plus the 201, and I'll probably send him the 208 as well as a starting offer for that guy's Saquon and for the 25 first. See if he bites on that, because that first is going to be super valuable next year. He says he got Ingram, Eckler, and the 108 for Saquon, which that makes sense. So, yeah.
Just looking through some teams here.
I just think at the end of the day, like a mix of young players and vets. This team should be competing right now, you know?
Yeah, let's just see players only at the moment. He's ranked 4th among this league. This is without his picks, obviously.
Yeah. So absolutely, yeah, I mean, this team should be competing right now.
He can definitely get better for sure. I mean,
he was trying to acquire Kamara. I wonder how much that would cost. What would you pay for Kamara right now?
3rd round.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
It'll be a 3rd round pick here, but I mean, the problem with Alvin is that it's always up and down. In season, you could have sold him for an early 2nd.
Owner wants a 1st. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, let's look at one more thing, and that's just trying to find a bad team that could potentially move on from a running back. CMC and JT will probably price out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I know we would disagree, but I like Joe Mixon. Okay. I would send like my 20. What does he have? The 208, the 209. One of your latest seconds to try and acquire him. Now, if he doesn't want that, then
I think
maybe I'll do a 2nd and a 3rd. You know, I like Joe Mixon. I'm trying to find some more names here.
The name that came to mind to me was Derrick Henry. I am obsessed with trading for Derrick Henry right now for
like him
a
as well.
Mid-second if you're a competing team. Like I'd pay the 207 plus, probably plus like the 30, both your 3rds. If that got the deal done for this team, I'd go out and get Derrick Henry. And is it worth it to you to have Henry to try and win a championship rather than trying to hit on some of these late guys in the 10-man? So he said he tried for Mixon. So that guy who has
yeah.
Derrick Henry, I mean, he's got quite a large running back room, but there's no real dog. But if this guy's asking for a first from Kamara, then it might be unrealistic to get a
I like
first.
Monty as well.
Yeah.
I'll throw Monty out there. I think Monty is a good buy low piece because of everyone's thinking of Jahmyr Gibbs. So if I can get Monty for one of these seconds, I'm happy. Start as low as possible, then work your way up. I wouldn't give more than like the 204. I think Monty would be. That's probably his value.
Might have to do the 207 and a third.
Let's see what Keep Trade Cut says according to that.
He says, should I overpay for K9?
Yeah, 204.
I wouldn't, because if you're telling me overpay, that means you're spending the 108. That's what it sounds like.
So, Danny, let me ask you this question. Does your league value running backs specifically a lot higher, or does everyone just overvalue everyone? Or is it just specifically running backs?
Yeah, there are some leagues like that where if you have to if you want to trade with someone, you just have to overpay at every position, which is not fun.
Because we've definitely encountered multiple picks possibly. I'm assuming that's for Kenneth Walker. But yes, because we have a lot of leagues and owners or team reviews that running backs are just valued tremendously because of how fantasy used to be, and they're not necessarily understanding how values are fluctuating now. Running backs are overpriced, he's saying. Okay. So.
Okay, well, it's going to be tough to trade for a running back then. Maybe we do stick and pick and we bet on a Benson and a Brooks. And that's the route that you can go.
That questions, if that is the case, that means Benson or Brooks easily can fall into the first round, like we mentioned.
Yes. Yeah, they're in play at the 109, 110.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, Benson goes Cowboys round 2. I'm probably valuing him, as crazy as it sounds, probably right around the 108 as like starting point.
And that's going to be a tough decision for you to make. Well, actually, no, you have 8 to 9, so you're kind of chilling. You get running back, and then you go wide receiver, or whatever you want to go.
But I even think in hearing this, you know, we saw Dane Brugler's mock draft yesterday. He had like Blake Corum in a great spot, Marshawn Lloyd in a great spot, Braylon Allen, and you know, almost every running back. You were like, that's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, this is so good. So if that is how the NFL draft pans out, like these 207s, like open to a running back here. You know, like Blake Corum is a 4th round pick, but he goes to the Chargers. You know, if you're telling me it's tough to get running backs in your league, they carry a lot of value, then you know you could have a look at that too. But yeah, to be honest with you, like I think like I said, you can trade like 1 or 2 of these picks for vets and kind of get a good blend. But your destination is pretty much already locked and loaded. The ticket is stamped. I mean, you're improving this team through the NFL draft. I don't see a clear sell high. I mean, there's a video coming out on CJ Stroud early next week, Danny. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. But I think it's really smart. So I'll wait. You can watch that video early next week. I think it'll come out on Monday. And it's like a 18-minute video specifically on CJ and his market right now. You decide if that's worth it for you. In a 10-man, maybe you keep him. And you've got the Collins stack. But there's no like obvious sell high. Diggs isn't a sell high. Rice certainly isn't a sell high.
There's no sell highs. The one person that I did mention earlier was Trevor Lawrence. And I guess let me talk about that, because if you can get, which I doubt, but if your league is valuing all these players high, and maybe one of these teams needs a quarterback, can I get the 105, the 106 for someone like a Trevor Lawrence? Because you already have Caleb, you have CJ Stroud, and then that puts you again in that top 6 if you were to do the one. And it's not a perfect trade. You can probably do the 105 plus something, or the 106 plus something for Trevor Lawrence, or to send away Trevor Lawrence. But like if I look at the team that has the 105, Ludacris, he has Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young and Will Levis. So he has quarterbacks. Maybe he's not as comfortable with Bryce Young and Will Levis. Is he willing to give up that Trevor Lawrence and the one for the 105? Yeah. I'm happy to throw a second there, because once again, you're getting, if you do go the Caleb Williams route, you're getting Caleb's, and now you have the opportunity to get Malik and then Rome, right? Like then that switches the conversation. So 104 has Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins as well, by the way.
Yeah, this might be one of the things that we just fundamentally disagree on. I think that's a huge sell-low on Trevor Lawrence, just my opinion. You know, keep in mind, guys, there's a scenario Caleb Williams isn't as good as Trevor Lawrence for fantasy. I know right now we don't see that as a possibility, but imagine I told you after the 2021 NFL Draft, hey, Trevor Lawrence might be a fringe quarterback one. Be like, what? Why am I taking him at the 101 then? This guy's a generational prospect. So, I don't know. Like, personally, I think this is way underselling Trevor Lawrence, but that's just my opinion. And again, shows as to why I wouldn't do it. I think the most...
Daniel's going to land at 5? Sorry.
The least I would sell Trevor Lawrence is for one of those top 3 picks.
Sure.
And even then, I'm not sure I'm going to get a player as good as Trevor Lawrence, even though he's not reached his potential yet. I have no personal doubts that he's going to get a long-term contract and be in Jacksonville for a long time. So, yeah, I just have a fundamental issue with trading him away. But
so he wants, the guy at the 105 wants Jaden Daniels. I mean, I'll be surprised if Jaden Daniels is available at the 105 unless that person at the 104 is going to take Drake no matter what. Or is that 104 taking Rome? This league is valuing players really.
That 104 is definitely going to take a quarterback. Well, their wide receiver room's awful too.
But so he's saying 105. He wants Jaden Daniels at 5. I'm assuming he just wants him. You're not saying that he's going to get him. You're just saying he wants him.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Steven says, remember, I stupidly sold the 101 for Lawrence in the 208 in a 14-team league. And you know what, Steven? What's crazy about that is that could still work in your favor in a year from now. We don't know. As much as I love Caleb Williams, there is no guarantee any single one of these players are going to be good. We know the hit rate is not 100%, you know. But I get it. I get betting on the upside. I get betting on the future. But I'm not selling Trevor Lawrence unless it's one of those top 3 picks. 104 wants his 2 quarterbacks. Okay. But look, I think you're a little bit limited with the moves that you can make, to be honest. And not to say that you're in a bad spot. You're in a fantastic spot. But a lot of the moves that we would have suggested you have made, you kind of already made.
Yeah. I think best case scenario here, Danny, is to stick and pick. Stick and pick. Let the draft come to you. And then you make your decisions there when that happens. Whether you want to go Caleb Williams at the 101 or Martin Harrison Jr. at the 101. I think either way, it's still okay. Because of the quarterback play. Like, if you're telling me right now you're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams, I'm okay with it. Just because I actually believe Justin Fields is going to be at least starting for at least minimum 8 games in 2024 and potentially be the starting quarterback in 2025. Now, that's a huge if, but you would hate yourself if Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud went down and you didn't have Caleb Williams. That's one thing I would say. And then Justin Fields is not starting and Daniel Jones is not the starting quarterback because he's still not ready to play or because they drafted another quarterback. Like, you have to think of all different scenarios when it comes onto your quarterback room and why it's so important to have quarterback depth there. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, and Danny, let us know if there's any questions we didn't answer. Thanks for the support, man. But last thing I would say is my ideal world is Caleb. Like, let's just paint that picture. Caleb Williams, you probably end up with Malik Neighbors. At the 108, I'd be happy with Bowers or Dunze, but it's a non-tight end premium, so let's say it's Brock Bowers, right? Personally, I would love to sell the 109 for like a DJ Moore, if that's possible. So again, just painting the best case scenario here. At the 110, we go Trey Benson because he ends up with the Cowboys. At the 201, maybe we go Ricky Pearsall. Maybe he does go much higher. And you know, who knows what happens even with the rest of these picks. But, you know, in this world, let's just say this is the world that you actually went out and this is what happened. Now, you'd end up with a roster with CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams. Maybe Trevor Lawrence picks it up this year. You can sell him high if you want. Maybe Caleb Williams is an absolute superstar and you can get ridiculous prices for him in return. But you've got a ton of flexibility in a SuperFlex format. At running back, you got Jacobs. You've got Benson, Brian Robinson, Connor Eckler, Hubbard. So many guys to fill that RB2 spot. At wide receiver, you've got Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Christian Kirk. We added a Pearsall. Who knows what else we added with those late second-round picks. At tight end, we've got Brock Bowers, Evan Ingram. I mean, we're set for years and years and years to come with that scenario playing itself out. I'd love to get one of these vet running backs, but it sounds like it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think so as well. And there was something I was going to say, but I completely forgot here. Oh, this is what I'm going to say. Danny, how confident are you that if you were to take Caleb, that the 102 is taking Marvin? Because it feels like he really wants that quarterback at that 102. Now, he doesn't necessarily need it.
That's what I was thinking.
Baker Mayfield. You know, like, if you do take Caleb and Jaden Daniels goes to a favorable landing spot, that he says, you know what? Let's say J.J. McCarthy goes to the Vikings, hypothetically, and he doesn't like Jaden Daniels, but he loves the weapons around. Like, would he take J.J. McCarthy or Jaden Daniels at the 102? Because if you can swing it that way and take the chance, maybe get an understanding on who he likes second best rather than Marvin.
Yeah,
could even be Drake May, but he says Marvin's just my guy, so it looks like he's gonna go Marv, which is fine. I'm not opposed to that.
I would just caution anyone playing that way though, with their heart.
What if Marvin lands in LA and
it's
Herbert?
A tough spot, you know.
I get that too, Danny, and if he doesn't, I guess for you it's a win-win, because if Marvin lands in a good landing spot, you feel like you're winning no matter what with Justin Herbert. But if Marvin lands in a bad landing spot, then you can pivot to Caleb Williams, and you still have the opportunity to take Malik Neighbors.
All I'll say is just remain open through the process. Yeah. You know, what do we see all these NFL GMs thinking or saying right now on the mic? Yep, everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. Commanders, GM, everything's on the table at number 2. We're coming close to a decision, but everything's on the table, you know. So, look, at the end of the day, the scenario that Badaki and I love is scenario 2. And for me, that's because I have Malik and Marvin in the same exact tier. And I think we're just not maximizing value if we don't. But this is just our opinion. Doesn't mean it's the way that you have to go. But we appreciate you, man. We appreciate the support. Hey, if there's anything we didn't cover, now's a great chance as we're transitioning to the next team to ask us any final questions. But I will send this whiteboard to you over in your fantasy hotline as well. But we will be going on to the next team here. Your team is great, by the way. You're definitely competing right now. That's what I would say. 100% competing right now. Here's the whiteboard coming to your DM right there. But as we're transitioning to the next team, just want to let you guys know, if you're watching, if you want your Dynasty team to be reviewed by us, it's very simple. I put a direct link in the chat for you. All you got to do is be a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I just put a direct link in the chat, like I mentioned. But again, everyone's team that we reviewed tonight, 2 things that they got in common. They're a Mother Flocker member. They used code LAND on sign up. I would suggest when you sign up to hit the instant access button, because that's going to let you skip that trial and get your team eligible earlier for a review. But once you do sign up, go to your account at the top right, click account, and link your Discord. That's going to let you see all of our premium channels, including the roster submissions tab here, where you see MoneyTeam, who submitted his team. He says, just got it. Thanks. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, man. All right. Hath 21 is the next team here. Let us know if you're in the chat with us, my man. And we can obviously chat as we go back and forth through your team. But Aki,
yep.
walk us through Hath's team here.
Hath's team here, it says SuperFlex 12 team star 10 tight end premium. I wonder what that premium is. Let us know if you are in the chat. My upcoming picks in 2024, which we'll go through as well. So last season I decided to rebuild, so there are holes in my roster, especially at the running back position. I'm carrying a lot of low end wide receivers that I'll cut by the draft. I've been trying to move a package with Tua for another pick inside the top 7. I'm a big fan of the potential of this rookie class. My plan is to take Caleb at the 101 and Neighbors if available at the 104. If not, I wouldn't mind moving back a couple spots to get Odunze. Looking for some guidance on where to go so I'm not stuck in a rebuild position for more than 2 years. All right, Haas, we appreciate you. Let's look at this team here.
So start 10. I'm just playing that out in my head.
I think it's 0.5 tight end, by the way, because there's just 1+ on keep trade cut.
Okay, two quarterback, two running back. Let's say it's two wide receiver, and maybe we'll go one tight end. That makes it 3 flex? 2, 4, 6, 7, 10. I'm guessing that's the lineup, so we can start 5 wide receivers at a time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably here.
Team name the Dharma Initiative.
The Dharma Initiative here. He's ranked 4th, 79th, 99, 97, 98. Pretty well balanced, really, from the start of his team going down.
Yeah.
But let's look at this team here. Joe Burr with Tua tags. He did mention he was trying to move off of Tua. So he was trying to package Tua for another pick inside the top 7. Okay. So you want to get another pick in the top 7 to potentially get.
Might be tough to do. I mean, maybe if he signs a long-term contract, which I don't think that happens for the NFL draft now. But I don't think you're going to be able to get a top 7 pick at this moment. And I think Tua's a little undervalued too, but
Tua is a little. Wow, gosh, it's going back and forth here for Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Sorry, I just heavy movement in the NFL draft. Betting markers over the last hour for number 2 now in picks favor of Drake May. Just going back and forth. Just going back and forth on for the Commanders.
Where is this report?
on bettings like
is it
on betting
a tweet,
odds
though?
Yeah, it is a tweet
from
Jamie Eisenher from the Draft Network. I don't know. I just got that tweet. They're just talking about betting odds.
Jamie
MGM.
Eisenberg?
Eisenher.
How do you spell
Eisenher? E-I... I think this is how you say it. E-I-S-N-E-R. Eisner.
And how do you spell Jamie?
J-A-I-M-E.
J-A-I-M-E. That's weird. Okay, let's see. So he works for the Draft Network.
He just put in the betting odds, just saying how it flipped now, and with Drake May's in favor. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's saying it's Jaden.
Well, everyone's saying it's Jaden, but now MMG or MGM is in favor. Well, it's actually in favor of Drake May.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either way at this point.
Anyway, it's just really random that I just got that tweet. But anyways, Joe Burrow, 2 attacks, good quarterbacks here. If you don't get another quarterback, like you said, you're drafting Caleb at the 101, which really puts your quarterback room in a great position there. So with that expectation of you drafting Caleb, you'll be fine at the quarterback room. Running back position, Javonte Williams, Keaton Mitchell, Roscoe Tank, the list kind of goes on there. No one here that is strong. I think your strongest running back is Javonte Williams. I'm concerned about Javonte Williams and his future with this team. Now, if they don't get a quarterback and they get a wide receiver in the first round somehow, some way, that would be interesting. And then a running back in the 3rd, whatever that looks like, I'm just not comfortable.
That's the thing. We're not confident in Javonte Williams, but there isn't much opportunity for them to improve that.
Exactly.
They don't have a 2nd round pick. They need a quarterback. They're not going to take a running back in the 1st round. If they don't go quarterback in round 1, is it round 3, Spencer Rattler? And there's so many other holes on their roster. So even though we're concerned about Javonte, I feel like it's unlikely they draft one, but we could be wrong, of course.
I think I'm concerned just about he might be the only weapon, and the only thing they're going to have to do is stop Javonte. Yeah. But anyways, not the strongest room here. He's the only guy that we can lean on.
And we don't even know if we can lean on him, but hopefully we can.
Yeah, and that will definitely change in a week from now. This time next week, we'll be in the 2nd and 3rd round. Or actually, we'll be in the 1st round. Excuse me, this time next week. So which is crazy. I'm excited for it. Wide receivers, Chris Olave. Once again, you can start
5,
4, 5,
5. Yeah.
Okay, 5 wide receivers: Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Richie Rich, Jahan Dotson, Darnell Mooney, and no one else.
I don't even know if it's Mooney or Dotson.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney and Dotson are in question as well here. So you really, in reality, have 3 wide receivers that we're comfortable with in Olave, Higgins, and Richie Rich, which is Rashee Rice here. And you're saying you're hopefully going to get Neighbors or Dunze, or Neighbors, you said, at the 104 if he does fall there to you. If not, you want to move
Let's
back
look at
to
that
get
real quick.
Dunze.
And tight end room is okay. There's a lot of guys that could be good, but who has the 103? 103 then.
103, America's team, Lamar Anthony Richardson. He has Gardner Minshew as well.
That guy could go either way.
Yeah, I think he goes Malik there. He's just going to solidify his...
But he probably doesn't feel great at QB3, though. I think he'd go either way. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's a possibility. So, let's play out this world then if it was our team. All right? If we're sticking and picking...
He really wants to compete sooner rather than later as well.
I think the 101 we would go Caleb Williams. We've talked about that often. At the 104, I think Neighbors or Daniels or May is the play.
Yep.
And I am not opposed to drafting 2 quarterbacks if that's the best value on the board. We talk about it all the time. We talk about all the time, like, take the best player available. You can trade for need afterwards if you want to. It's a 12-team SuperFlex league. All right, and let's look at some of these teams. Team 1, by the way, no quarterback of note outside of Dak. I mean, they have Bryce. We like Bryce, but does this guy really feel great about Bryce Young and Geno Smith being his quarterback 2 and 3? He has no first-round pick. I'm sure he's open to a negotiation. How about Team 3? They got Justin Fields as their quarterback 3 and Russell Wilson. How comfortable do they feel with no first-round pick this year? Keeping going down. Team 8, Will Levis and Sam Howell. He has a 105. He's hoping for a quarterback. Maybe that's a trade back. If you're at the 104, maybe that is a really good trade back option for you. How about Team 9? Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, no first round pick. Team 12, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers. 107 is the first pick that he has. So I think the best value could still be quarterback. So I wouldn't force Rome Odunze there at the 104. Let's say Neighbors goes at the 103. I still think you are going to maximize value by taking a quarterback if that's the scenario. But 112, who's that in your rankings?
112 really pans out. That can definitely be one of these running backs. Adonai Mitchell, Lam McConkey, Xavier Worthy. So it's a pretty big range there when it comes down to some of these guys, and depending on where they land. So that's kind of where I'm at the 112.
Yeah, that's Mitchell, McConkey, Worthy, Benson, Brooks range, for sure. And then the rest of these picks, you just go BPA at that point. Yeah. And the 301 is actually quite valuable, the 301 and the 302 this year, because you are getting second-round values this year at those picks. Now, of course, things can change. We expect this to be a really deep offensive class this year, and maybe that's different. El Tigre just donated. Badaki, how do you negotiate with Zach? Shakes fist. Also, what's your price to trade back from the 04, the 05? I think he's asking you. We'll have a look at that in a second, though.
Yeah, we'll have a look. I'll have a look at that in the Delta League.
Let me ask you this, Badaki, because he thinks I'm being harsh here. He wants the 101 and the 102, okay? And he wants me to give him Puka and the 109 for the 102. Would you trade Puka and the 109 to get the 102?
Puka and the 109 just for the 102?
Yeah.
Sorry, are you getting Puka and the 109? Or are you
No, I'm getting the 102. I'm now getting Marvin Harrison Jr. essentially.
Yeah, I would do that, I think.
You would do that?
I think I would, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I have Puka over Marvin at this point, so that's where my issue is.
And I think I would have Marvin over Puka.
You're going to pay the 109 to make that move.
Yeah, the Puka and the 109, I think I would, yeah.
Okay, well, I just don't agree.
I think maybe it's best if I see it, because it was really hard to envision. But like, yes, I think I would. I think a lot of it has to go with context as well. Like, are you competing?
Yeah, I'm competing.
Okay, so you can compete with Puka or Marvin Harrison. At least that's what we think, with Puka or Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm assuming El Tigre is either competing or...
I'm pretty sure he's competing.
Yeah, so I think it could be a win-win trade for both. But I would say this, to make it even, can you get a second?
That doesn't make any sense for me. I have Puka over Marvin. Why am I sending a first-round pick to make that move?
Sure, so I guess... You're right. You have Puka over Marvin, so then there's no point of trying to trade with him, El Tigre, if he has Puka over Marvin. He's gonna want somebody more valuable. And that 109, Marvin Harrison Jr. and the 109 is not going to be more valuable than Puka in his rankings.
The most I might pay is the 102 for, to get is the 102 for Puka. But even then, I'm not sure if I love it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's tough. Look, I guess I thought consensus was Puka over Marvin, but I could be wrong then.
I think right now, yeah, Puka could be over Marvin, but I think after landing spots, would you still have Puka over Marvin if he goes to the Cardinals or the Chargers? I think
that's where I'm assuming he is going.
Okay, so regardless of that, you still have Puka. I think I would struggle to figure out who I would have higher.
Yeah, fair enough.
Once he gets connected with one of those quarterbacks, if he gets connected with
I
one
could
of those
be wrong.
quarterbacks.
I just come back
I would
to
say
the
100%.
What is the best case scenario for Marv or Malik this year?
Well, Chargers and Cardinals, right?
No, I'm saying what's the range of outcome for them? It's we could dream of a
where
range
they
of
finish,
outcome, and it would be what Puka just did.
Sure.
Tigre says I offered Pittman the 05, the 1 and the 205 for the 101 too, and I said no.
Pittman the 5 and the 205. Yeah, that doesn't feel like enough. And I think I can even speak for Zach. That's hard. We like Pittman, but we don't know what he is with Anthony Richardson. That's a big question mark right there. 105, I think Zach would say, okay, I can still get a good premium player.
I'm not making any choice though. The choice is made for me.
Yeah, and then Pittman is a question mark. So that's how I'm thinking Zach is thinking.
I just think you got to pay a premium for the 101. That doesn't feel like a premium to me.
Anyways, yes, best player available from the 301 onwards. El Tigre, I'll definitely look at your trade after. It's kind of hard to be in two places at once.
Yeah.
Trying to look at your trade and then help somebody.
Yeah, we probably should focus on this guy's team right now. My bad.
But we appreciate you, and we can definitely talk. Just know that I don't want to move back. I just want to trade Drake London. How about that? I don't want to move back from my pick. So yeah, stick and pick Caleb Williams, and then you get best player available at the 301. And he did say he wants to.
He thought about moving back for Odunze.
Yeah. So looking for guidance, not to be stuck in a rebuild for the next 2 years, which kind of feels inevitable here because of your running back room.
Yeah, I mean, at the 112, maybe you hit on a rookie running back, but you're really trying to hit everywhere in order for that to happen. And it's possible, but doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I think getting Caleb or Marvin or Roma Dunze here can definitely help your team.
Yeah, big time.
And will help your team, but you still have a big hole at the running back position, which concerns me.
So let's talk about moving back from the 104, because he talks about how much he likes Odunze, how he might be open to that. If we can trade back, I think what's good for you here is that the 105 and the 106 are both in really desperate need of a quarterback, so I think they would be open to business. The guy who has the 105,
it's Team 8.
He has
Will Levis, Sam Howell.
Yeah. So that guy is praying that Malik Neighbors doesn't fall to him at the 105. Just quite frankly, maybe he's not, but if that's what it would feel like to me.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we can trade back. Maybe we can acquire an Achane somehow in this deal. Is this a 105?
That is.
That's going to be tough, but I wonder if there's a deal out there for us. Maybe would you do the 104 plus the 111? For the 105 and Achane?
And Devon thing.
Or he has.
What's the 111?
He has
112.
My bad.
Yeah, I'll do 112 for Devon.
Yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat personally.
Yeah.
I'd also consider the classic pick swap for his 25 first as well. And by the way, when you're in these negotiations, you're taking BPA. If they're asking, what are you doing there? BPA, it's probably a quarterback. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Charbonnet, Brian Robinson don't move the needle for me.
Yeah, I bet you this guy's pretty confident that you're not going to go quarterback, so he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm getting my guy because you just drafted Caleb."
Yeah,
at the 101.
Neck minute, unlike yours, but that's probably the main pieces. I think I would try and move. I mean, JSN, I would do that same trade. I think for JSN.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jackson Smith and Jigba currently valued as like the 109, 110 in the community at the moment. So the 105 and Jackson Smith and Jigba for the 104, you get another wide receiver on your team, plus the 105, and you kind of let him make the decision for you, or you can still get one of these quarterbacks. But the thing is, like, that's probably what you want. You want to move back and then get draft capital and still be okay taking a quarterback or Rome Odunze. Like, if Malik Neighbors is not there, great. Let me get Jackson Smith and Jigba and Rome Odunze so you can now go get your quarterback. But then that's more. Then it's going to come to the point where it's like, what's the point of me doing that for the 105 if you're not going to be taking the quarterback? Or the 104 if you're not going to be taking the quarterback. Anyways,
the 106.
I'm happy to do that as
well. Who has the 106? Is Team 6. And Team 6, it definitely needs a quarterback. And friendly reminder, seems like we have to remind most streams. The goal today is not to tell these people we are reviewing their team that every one of these trades are going to be accepted. These are starting points. Every trade has multiple counters, right? I mean, it's very rarely that you send out a trade and it's just accepted straight away. These are starting points to get people, trade negotiations flowing. Yeah. So, obviously, Pook is off the table, but like Jaden Reed is sitting there. That's interesting to me. Also, the 110 is there. I think you and I would really be open to like a move where we go from the 104 to the 106 and the 110. For this guy in particular, who has so many needs, I think that could make a ton of sense for him.
104, 106 to the 110. Yep.
I'd also obviously be okay with the Jaden Reed there. These are starting points.
Yeah, I like Jaden Reed.
Maybe you need to add the 301 to get that done. I don't know. But again, like these are like your starting point offers. So I think trading back to one of those picks makes a ton of sense for you right now, considering where you are. There's not another name that I really love there. And the 206 isn't going to be enough for me to move back. And the guy's probably not giving up Josh Jacobs. But how about a similar deal as before, where we get the 106 and Josh Jacobs, and we send away the 104 plus the 112? Would you do that?
106 Josh Jacobs. The 104 plus the 112 for 106 and Josh Jacobs. Yes.
I might ask for like a third in return on that.
Yeah, I would do that trade. I like Josh Jacobs for the 112 there, and I think that's exactly where he's valued in the community, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's a perfect trade to then help boost your running back room. And that kind of switches it up, right? Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, that feels a little bit more comfortable with that running back room there. I'm really trying to think of, and like, look, you kind of talked about it. Like, this is what I would potentially be trying to do. Can I package my 301 and 302 to get into the second somehow to get one of these running backs? Well, actually, is this 10 man? No, this is 12 man.
Okay.
Like,
I kind of like staying there, but feel free to explore here.
The only reason why I say that is because I'm in desperate need of running back, and by that time, like we seen a mock draft like we saw yesterday from Dan Brugler, those running backs are going to be in a perfect position to be there maybe in the middle to the late end of the second. Can I get one of those guys? Can I get the Blake Corn that maybe falls to the 206, or maybe the Braylon Allen that falls to 206, 207?
That's what I was going to say, because yesterday Braylon Allen went in the middle of the third in the SuperFlex. He went at the 307. You had Audric Esme in the third.
Wasn't that the one quarterback, though?
No, that was a SuperFlex league.
Okay.
And the question is, are you that much more confident in Blake Corum, if that was the world, than a Braylon Allen and an Esme, for example?
Sure.
Sure. But
having more depth there, I think it just all depends on how you feel, and if you can actually get that done. I'm trying to find a team that has one of these seconds.
Yeah.
That maybe I can go out and trade for. But if not, like, look, I'm happy to keep them as well. I'm just bringing as many options as I possibly can.
Sure.
To try and get you into that second to see if you can potentially get a, once again, Braylon Allen, Aldrich Estime, a Brett Corm, Jalen Wright, if he goes to a decent-ish landing spot. Can that be the 208, which is team 3? I don't think you can get higher than like the 205. I think the 206 and lower is probably the sweet spot to do a 2-for-1 if they're willing to do something like that. So the 206 downwards for both of those thirds, just to get you into that second. And if it's not, that's also another wide receiver, right? Like if it doesn't work out for you, you can get another wide receiver, and that can be, you know, the Roman Wilsons, that can be the Jermaine Burtons. The list goes on from there.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a win-win type of scenario if you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I just view this team as so barren. I'd rather have 2 shots at it.
Sure.
And I think the third is just
that makes
the
sense.
second this year.
And that makes sense.
But I do think when I look at this team, Olave is like the clear guy that stands out as a potential pivot. I don't personally think Burrow and Tua are good pivots right now. I don't think Tua is valued where he should be. And Burrow is getting disrespected because of the injured year that he had. But I think Olave is really like the only obvious tier down option. And I know that you probably would agree with me there on potentially moving down from Olave. But let's look at some teams that make sense in like a tier down.
Yeah.
For example, I think Nico Collins right now would be considered a tier down. Nico Collins plus what equals Chris Olave. This is where we should reference Keep Trade Cuts calculator, because this is what people are going to be using for the most part. So what would Olave, Nico... So what could we get in return here? Could we get the 108 and then send something else to make it even? Let's see. What do we have on our roster again? Can we send like those thirds maybe? I know I don't really want to.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a little bit tough one with the 108. I like the reason why I was
that gets you
hesitant.
in the building though.
Yeah, the reason why I was hesitant with Chris Olave is because I feel like he's already outside like that top 10, even the community line. So to tier down to like the late 20s, it will be like a 2-for-1. So is that like a Jaden Reed and a Zay Flowers, or Jordan Addison and a Zay Flowers, which I don't think anyone would do at the moment.
Right, yeah. I mean, we've been telling people to pivot down all offseason. Has that changed for you?
No, we have. I think I've just been pivoting down to like Olave for like Nico in a second at that time.
Okay.
I guess like maybe Nico in the first just feels like a little bit like that feels like a lot.
I guess it would before the Diggs trade, but it just is. I guess I just don't see that, but I could be wrong.
But look,
Jaden Reed in the 110, another option.
Yeah, like see, that's perfect. Jaden Reed in 110, that's a real pivot down, and you're still getting some draft capital there. I like Tank Dell as well, and like a 25 second.
That's not enough for me. So you would pivot down to Tank Dell in a 25 second.
Yeah, for a future because I have Tank Dell technically higher than Nico Collins, so.
Right, but that's nowhere near the value. Okay. I wouldn't do that, but
a 25 first. A 25 first, excuse me, because he doesn't have the 25 second. I think I was talking about 25 first. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I would agree. Yes, not a second, not Tank Dell in a second
at all.
Okay. Absolutely not. Sorry, I was watching you type it out. I was like, that's not a second. I meant first.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, like if you can get JSN in the 105, I would do that.
Yeah,
I don't know how possible that is. You might have to add something to get that deal done, but that's really intriguing to me as well.
What about Pittman? That's a weird one.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
What about like a DJ Moore in the 109?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
You might have to add something to that.
Yeah.
like as a starting point, but you might have to add like the 301 to get into the building. London is not a pivot option anymore, but he was when we were doing that.
Yeah, I think that those are the ideal ones.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I can't think of another one that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you already have a Higgins. Higgins would have been a nice one. I honestly don't mind a Metcalf pivot either, if it nets you a first.
Is Metcalf in the first? Future first?
I just don't think that happens, but I would definitely be open to that. Just like the Dell deal. So that's an option for you, but yeah, at the end of the day, I think our best case scenario here is trading back from the 104, and that brings us to the 105, or sorry, yeah, the 105 or the 106. We like all of these deals that we put together for you.
Yeah.
Is the 107 too far? I mean, can we look at the 107? Because the 107 owner is very obvious in need.
For Olave? Like Olave and something? Is that what you're saying?
No, trading back from the 104. The 104 to the 107 puts you in a much different range, so that is a little tough, but I see he has Drake London. I wonder if we can get Drake London and send the 104 plus the 112. Should do that?
104, 112, and
London
I get
in the 107.
In the 107. No, I personally wouldn't do that.
You'd keep the 104?
I think I would keep the 104 in this scenario.
Okay.
I think it's too far back of a pivot.
You're
like,
at worst getting
London,
a Dunze, right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking on these other teams and who they would go, because I know we were looking at it. 106 is getting a quarterback. At least that's what we think.
Okay. I like that deal, but I get it. I get not everyone's going to like that one. Another option instead of the 112. Yeah, we're really limited. I mean, I guess you could send your 25 second maybe. But I don't think that deal gets done. That's not enough. Like, why would the Drake London guy accept that?
Yeah, like, that doesn't feel like enough.
I think you'd have to add that 112, but if we took Drake London out of it, the 107 plus, there's no player really that makes sense, but you could get the 107 plus their future first.
Like, I would pivot from, like, this is where I would do, like...
That team's not going to be good, so I definitely want their 25 first.
Yeah, 104, Olave, 107, London. No, that's still no.
Those are some options for you there.
Yeah.
Anything, I know he's not with us here, but anything that we didn't, I feel like we covered it all. Let's paint the best case scenario here. Caleb Williams is your pick at the 101. In my opinion, the best case scenario is you trading back from the 104. It's like one of the favorite trades we saw there. I love the HN one, I'm not going to lie. Let's play that out. We trade back HN there. We lose the 112, but at the 105, we go a Dunze, or maybe we trade back from the 105 again, and we also get Devon HN. So now our roster, we've got Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Tua tags, Devon HN, Javonte Williams, Roma Dunze, Chris Olave, Higgins, Rice, Dotson, Mooney. That feels a lot better than who knows what we do with our third round picks.
Yeah.
That feels a lot better. But anything else you want to mention here for this team?
No, that's good. Just remember using Fantasy Hotline. Let us know if you have any other questions. I know you weren't with us when you're watching this. Send us a message on the Fantasy Hotline if you have any other questions. Maybe something that we didn't break down. We can break it down on the hotline. Yeah. I know you're not wanting to. I know you don't want to be stuck in a rebuild position for the next 2 years, which I don't think you will be. I think you have the pieces. You will have the pieces from this draft. You just need to get a running back. The running backs. And I think that's going to be the most crucial part coming into the 2025 class, which hopefully you can potentially hit on some running backs going into there, or maybe buy some low-end running backs later on. You just don't have the draft capital.
Well, that deal right there is really interesting to me, getting the 107 and the 25 first, because that team that you're getting that first from is going to be awful. And you're still going to get a great player at the 107, and you could get a top 3 pick in 2025, which is a stacked running back class. So that's pretty interesting to me too.
Yeah.
But
so keep that in mind. But yeah, UZ Fantasy Hotline, we appreciate all the support.
Yeah, big time. I did send that whiteboard over to you, so that is available to you. We appreciate you, Hath, and thank you for the support. Hey, if you guys are watching this video, we got a like goal today of 50 likes. Do us a favor. Help us get there. We're only 15 likes away, which is awesome. Hit that like button for us. Simple way for you to support the channel. And if you're watching this either now or later and you want your Dynasty team to be reviewed on a live stream by us, it's very simple. All you got to do is use the promo code LAND and become a Mother Flocker member on the Flock Fantasy website. Again, everyone's team that we reviewed tonight will be a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. Once you sign up, I would suggest clicking Instant Access so you don't have to wait for that trial to end for your team to be eligible. But once you sign up, go to the top right, click account, link your Discord, and then you will be able to see all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab, where you can see here we're looking at the next team. I also see an Andy Castle who signed up recently and put their team in just now, so we appreciate you. But Grayth is the next team that we are breaking down. And
let's do this.
Yeah, in case anybody wants their team reviewed or they want to know how, that is how you get the dealio done.
We appreciate you, Grayth.
Go ahead and read this out. I'm just going to use the bathroom while you read it.
Sure. We appreciate you, Grayth. Thank you so much for the support here. It's a 10-team SuperFlex Start 9. So let's kind of break this down. One quarterback, like Zach does, right? One quarterback. He does it quicker than me. I'm a little bit slower. 2 running backs. 2 wide receivers. 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6. And then what? 3 flex? Am I tripping there? No. 2 wide receivers. 2 flex spots. And then 1 super flex. I think that's how we do it, right? So 1 quick math: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is how I think it's broken down. Let us know if you're in the chat here. He says, into the second year of a rebuild, starting to think about competing. Have the 101, 102, 105, and the 201. Trying to trade my first for established players, but no one is biting yet. Waiting on an answer for my offer of the 101 for Anthony Richardson plus the 108. That's interesting. Trades don't happen as much as I like. Okay, it must be difficult to trade, obviously. If not, I'm happy to stay and put and take Caleb and Marvin, but I'm going to struggle to get a quarterback at the 105 when I have Trevor and need wide receiver so badly. Ayuk, Waddle, right? Talking to me in the value, hoping Neighbors falls to me. He might make a decision for me as well as a real bust potential in May and Daniels. Love your stuff, guys. Glad on board with the vlog. We appreciate you. Just breaking down his team here.
Yep.
Now that Zach is back.
Is Grayth with us?
I haven't seen anything.
Start 9 SuperFlex would be 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. That's 2, 4, 6. 1 tight end.
Yeah, I broke it down probably
2
the
flex.
wrong way, the way it works in my mind. But yes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the same thing,
flex.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I just did 1 super flex on. Anyways,
that makes sense.
You are ranked first here. It looks like a pretty well balanced league as well. Yeah. It is a 10-man league, which is great. Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, and Ryan Tannehill. He did mention that he was trying to get Caleb Williams at the 101. If not, he was trying to trade out of the 101 for Anthony Richardson and the 108.
Yeah, I like that.
So keep that in mind there. But the quarterback room is definitely a need no question.
Yeah.
At the 101, you can definitely get Caleb Williams and then see how that potentially could work in your favor coming in. But we'll break it down here. Running backs, Bijan Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, Kendry Miller, Jerome Ford, and the list goes on. Great running back room. I like the top 4, actually. And I believe in all these guys. And Kendry Miller, hopefully he gets some opportunity coming into the 2024 season. If Al Kamara is traded, walked, or whatever that looks like. Wide receivers, once again, you can start up to 4 wide receivers. Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, J-Mo, Jahan Dotson, and the list kind of goes on there. You do have 4 wide receivers you could potentially start with Jameson Williams there being in the limbo. Same thing with Jahan Dotson, but that will change here in this draft, which I'm assuming at the 102, you're potentially going to be taking either Marvin Harrison Jr. or we'll talk about it, maybe you having to get Roman Dunze at the 105. This is a tight end premium, so he has Dalton Kincaid, Cade Alton, Daniel Bellinger, and the list kind of goes on, which is tight end premium, I do believe. Dalton Kincaid is a perfect tight end there for you. Doesn't look like you are in the chat with us, but that's okay. Hopefully you watch it back, and if you have any questions, definitely use your fantasy hotline here. But have some really good draft capital coming into this draft. One of the biggest things he did say before we go into stick and pick was Anthony Richardson from the 10. Anthony Richardson in the 108 for the 101. Is that something you would do?
If I can get A-Rich in the 108.
My first initial thought is that I personally would rather have the 101 and Caleb Williams. I would have Caleb Williams above Anthony Richardson in my rankings coming out of the NFL draft, so I would feel comfortable with Caleb Williams. Now, it's not a huge drop. At the moment, I would have him one spot apart. So getting that 108 could definitely help this team, though.
In most scenarios, I'd say yes. My difficulty is this being a 10-man, and I know it's start 9, but it actually feels relatively small when you consider it's SuperFlex. So, we're only starting 6 players non-quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Or 7. 2, 4.
Yeah, 7 without
6,
the
7.
quarterbacks.
So, I'm trying to think, is it worth... Like, I wouldn't be surprised if A-Rich outscores Caleb Williams next year. If he stays healthy, I actually think the odds are that he might. With his rushing upside. We don't know if he stays healthy. We don't know if he takes the next step. This is actually not a make-or-break year for A-Rich, but there's a lot on the line because they need to see progression. And it's unfortunate, and it's not fair to him because he had his entire first year taken away. But I'm asking myself at the 108, what 108 am I excited about there? Is it Adunze's probably not there?
Yeah, that's
Bowers won't be there. It's tight end premium.
Yeah, I think it's Brian Thomas Jr., Lab McConkey, and Mitchell. I think it's in a 10-man, maybe a running back once again.
Yeah.
Brenton goes to the Cowboys in the second round, so that can definitely be in play.
Who's the A-Rich owner? Let's look at that team. Team 3. So there is a deal out there. I think it isn't that deal that was offered. But like I would feel better. All right, let's look at this. So A-Rich in the 108. I also want Derrick Henry, by the way. So how are we going to get this done? What picks do we have? We have the 201, the 302. 201 might be a little too rich for Henry right now based off his current value. So
I wouldn't want to give up the 201 there.
And the 301's not enough. The 302 is not enough. Yeah,
I think I would rather hold.
That's tough. I would say this. Like, I think the only other option out there, which I would be willing to do, is give me your 25 first. I'll give you my 25 second. You know what I mean? Like, that puts me over the line, and we'll take Henry out of it.
Give you my 25.
Oh, sorry. I was also going to ask for the 108. My bad. So, like, in this world, I think I can get there.
Okay.
I'll take the 108. I'll take A-Rich and your 25 first. I'll send you the 101 and the 25 second.
The reason why I'm hesitating on that 25 first is because this guy's competing.
That's fine.
Well, actually, he's not really competing.
So are we.
I mean, the wide receiver room is not the strongest there. but great quarterback room, decent running back room. Anyways,
he's not getting a tight end. He's not going to improve at tight end in a tight end premium format.
No, I definitely get it. I think for me, I struggle with this trade because it's not that I am not an Anthony Richardson hater, or I'm not saying I'm not a big Anthony Richardson believer. I am with Zach that I think it's a make or break year. If Anthony Richardson doesn't come out and win at least 8 games, and he stays healthy, and he is not the cause of those. How can I say this? And he is not like striving week to week. That's a huge problem because then he is just another mobile quarterback, great for fantasy, but not a franchise quarterback.
The more I think about it, I don't know if I'd call it make or break, but it is pivotal. Like Justin Fields, think about his second year.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's kind of really eerie similar to Justin Fields, even though Anthony Richardson has better weapons around him. So there's no excuses for Anthony Richardson.
He's in a better system too, like better.
100%.
I would say it's not make or break, but it's really important, and there is some nerve there. And I get it, but that would be enough for me to make the deal go through, but doesn't have to happen. Let's talk about stick and pick here. Caleb Williams, Marv, and then Neighbors are the best available. Like, to be honest, this is actually really easy looking at your team because all the answers are in front of you. So at quarterback, you're going to add Caleb Williams. And honestly, you talked about how you might be upset if Neighbors isn't there at the 105, or not upset, but you would prefer Neighbors there, and I get it. But if Neighbors is not there, can we be honest? You might need a QB3 anyway, because right now your QB2 is Trevor Lawrence, your QB3 is Daniel Jones. We don't even know if Jones is going to start this year. We don't know if they draft J.J. McCarthy, you know?
We're getting J.J. Lock it in.
And we don't think Daniel Jones is a long-term answer. So your team would not be in a bad position if you ended up with Caleb, Drake May, Caleb, Jaden Daniels. You know, that actually would suit this team quite a lot. And because you only have to start 4 wide receivers, it is kind of small. Marvin becomes your 1. Brandon becomes your 2. Waddle as a 3 is not bad. You're not in a bad spot at all. And hopefully Watson can stay healthy, or Jameson breaks out, or Dotson does his thing. But we still have the 201 where we can improve that. We're already pretty good at tight end. We got Dal Kincaid. You know, Badaki mentioned he thinks a big breakout's on the way. I agree that there could be a breakout on the way. And then at the 201, I think you're going like just a true BPA. Like that is a Benson, a Brooks. Because remember, this is technically the 111. You know, Mitchell.
Yeah, Benson,
Worthy,
Brooks, Mitchell, Worthy. Yeah, all those guys kind of fall in that landing spot there at the 201. And then really the 302 onward is best player available. BPA when it comes down to whoever's on the board, maybe best system. Get your guy there. But yeah, the first 4 picks that you have, it's all going to land on your lap, and it's going to be easy for you to make some decisions potentially coming into the system. And like Zach said, let me just see where he's at when he comes down to players only. Gosh, they have him ranked 8th.
It makes sense because we're really betting on the draft here.
Sure.
Think about it. Like when we expect Marvin to be really good day 1. Maybe he's not, but like that is going to be an important part of your starting roster. Caleb is going to be an important part because right now you got Daniel Jones starting, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So yeah, the draft is obviously very important to this team. It's good that you have your 25 and your 26 first, though. That's great.
Yeah, and these teams are quarterback needy. You know, 103, 104. Looking at the 104's team 10, Jared Goff, Justin Fields. He definitely needs a quarterback. Team 9, who has the 103, Bryce Young, Drew Lock. So you're gonna see a run of quarterbacks. You're gonna see Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Drake May or Jaden Daniels, maybe even J.J. McCarthy in that squeeze there, depending on where he lands.
Yeah.
And at the 105, I think it's really doable for you to get Malik Neighbors and or another quarterback here.
Yeah. Ron says, I think the guy said when he was describing his team that he didn't like Daniels or May. I could have misread that. No, you read that. You read that correctly. Mm-hmm. He was basically asking us to, I think he said, talk me into taking the value. I think so. That's what we're trying to do right now is just open his eyes and say, hey, it is not awful if you get a quarterback there. Okay. That's really where we're trying to go. But Badaki
Yeah.
does make some great points here. These teams are really quarterback needy ahead of him. Even in a 10-man, this guy's not going to rock with Bryce Young and Drew Lock as his 1 and 2.
That decision is going to be made for you, where you're not gonna have to take Jaden Daniels without us talking.
Yeah. This guy might go Neighbors at the 104. Like, maybe he justifies it if he thinks Fields is going to start. But Fields isn't starting day 1. I don't think anyone who has Justin Fields feels very comfortable with him being their starter going into the season if they're playing to compete.
Yeah, so in reality, if you think about it, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., let's just say Jaden Daniels at the 103 and Drake May at the 104. You have the opportunity between Neighbors and then J.J. McCarthy, depending on where J.J. McCarthy lands, if you wanted to take J.J. So you could instantly flip this and say you have Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence with 2 new wide receivers, and literally we expect them to go top 5, top 6. This is incredible. Like this would be an incredible team with a lot of young rookies. But yeah, I mean, you have a window, and I'm not saying that this is gonna happen, but like if everything falls in the right area where the Giants don't take a quarterback, then you have Daniel Jones. Is that exciting? No, but at least he's your QB3 on this team with Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. Same thing with Jacoby Brissett. We can talk it up a little bit if you want to, but still, you are in a perfect window for the draft to kind of fall to you here.
Yeah, I agree.
If need be.
There's no clear trade down here with the picks that you already have, because you already control most of the top 5 anyway. So there's no clear trade back, in my opinion. I'm not trading back from the 201 or the 3rd or 4th round. So I think you're in a really, really good spot here, to be honest with you. And it's a 10-man. It's a start 9. That's small for SuperFlex. So the fact that you've got Bijan, I'm not going to pivot off of Bijan in this format. He's going to stay on my team. I don't think we can tear down from Ayuk and Waddle for what we'd want to get anyway. Trevor Lawrence, we've said this many times, I don't think his value equates to what he's worth right now, so he's not a trade away. And Kincaid is someone you definitely want in a tight end premium format. So I think at the moment, I would say you're not locked in, but I feel like you kind of are unless that A-Rich deal happens.
Yeah. I think I would. I think I said earlier I'd still rather have Caleb, but the A-Rich one can potentially happen. Let me ask you this. You have Anthony Richardson higher than Jordan Love, do you?
No, I have Love 1 spot ahead, I believe.
I was going to say, would you rather... I would be okay with it being Jordan Love. I feel more secure about Jordan Love in that trade specifically. Would you rather pivot to J Love?
Yeah, I've got Love as my 8, Rich as my 9. But yeah, I'm definitely... Yeah, so let's talk about that. I definitely don't mind that at all. If, same structure? If he wants to keep Rich and he doesn't value Love the same way?
Sure. I'll take Jordan Love. I feel more comfortable here taking Jordan Love at the 108. Now, I still have Caleb Williams higher than Jordan Love. But I feel more comfortable in the structure, in the team, in the player, rather than Anthony Richardson, which then gives me a lot more comfortability to move to that 108, who then could potentially be a Brian Thomas Jr. That could potentially be a Trey Benson, who could be a good RB2 for you at the 108. So,
yeah, I think Jordan Love it's so funny because it's
actually might change things, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. If you trade the 101, that's most likely not going to be Caleb Williams for this team. It's most likely going to be Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. Well, probably, yeah.
So that's something else you have to consider.
Well, yeah, that means you could get Caleb and you could get that actually might not be ideal now that I think about it.
Exactly. Yeah, it might not be ideal now thinking about it, because that means you're not getting Marvin Harrison Jr. You're getting Jordan Love and the 108, which hypothetically Brian Thomas Jr. Now it's Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors at the 105 rather than Marvin Harrison Jr., Caleb Williams, and Malik Neighbors. So I think you're best to stick
And there is some like understanding in a 10-man that quarterbacks aren't as difficult to get your hands on. So in a lot of 10-mans, Marvin will be the 101. So and I can understand that a little bit more. You know, Caleb's my consensus, no question 101, but that's typically like 12-man. In a 10 or 8-man league, I think Marvin will go the 101 a lot. So that actually might not be ideal.
Yeah. I don't think either of those trades are ideal for Anthony Richardson or Jordan Love. I don't think you move that 101 unless you know that team is going to take Caleb Williams, which means can you trade to the 104 or the 103?
And maybe actually we want to hold the 101 to guarantee. How do you spell that? Because yeah, you're right. That guy's probably trading up for Marvin.
103 has DJ Moore, Sam Laporta, Jonathan Taylor. Can we squeeze one of those out for the 101? Is that too much?
What team?
That's team 9.
What's the structure you're thinking?
I'm thinking if you want the 101 and Caleb Williams, sure, we'll give him to you. What can I get in return? Like, would you do the 103 and DJ Moore for Caleb Williams or for the 101?
See, I'd have no problem with that, but I'm putting myself in the team 9 shoes. Would I do that if I'm team 9? Because now Quentin Johnson's my wide receiver 1.
Sure. Sure.
It really feels like this league is a stay where you are type of league for right now.
What about 104 and Tank for the 101? 104.
I don't think that would move me in this 10-man format.
104. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
To see what you can squeeze. 104 Reed in the 204. 104 Reed and we just kind of talked down Javonte, but you don't really need Javonte in this league, right?
Well, what you could do is get Justin Jefferson for the 101. But then you aren't guaranteed Caleb.
No, but then that pivots you to getting the 104 and then taking another quarterback and still having Malik Neighbors because you still control the draft.
Oh, well, sorry, in that scenario, I don't think you can manage to get the 104 and Justin Jefferson. I don't think that's possible.
Try it. Right. Right.
I think you stick, man. I think you stick.
Yeah.
And, Lando said I'd be exploring a tier up at the 105 here. How high can the 105 and now you get me? Like, I get that idea, but I also, I personally wouldn't pursue that because, yeah, it's shallow leagues, but we're going to thin out so quick there. Now we're going to be relying on Watson
and Waddle for
and
one of those guys.
So I get it, but I don't think I would personally do it. I definitely get tearing up, but I don't think this team is in a position to really do that.
Yeah, and we definitely always want to tier up in a shallower league, getting your studs. Like you said, we agree with you there. In this format, in this build with this context, I think it's a little bit more difficult to then lose one of these assets to then tier up for the one because now you're just making your wide receiver, what is it, start 4? Your wide receiver 4 really weak. You're making 1 and 2 really strong.
So you'd still get you get Marvin. I don't know what you could tier up with Ayuk in the 105. I'm not sure, but let's say like it's a Puka, for example. Well, that's great, but now Watson, Williams, Dotson, you all need them to hit because your next pick is the 201. It's a little too risky. I think if there was more depth to the team, I'd be willing to do it, but I don't think I could here. And also, Ayuk is a reliable scorer. Timothy said, if that were Gibbs instead of Bijan, would you pivot or hold? I'd still hold. Darius says, I'm a member. Can you review my team? If you're a member with the code LAND, then yeah, you will be able to submit in the roster submissions tab. Just make sure you link your Discord. Let us know if you have any questions about that. But yeah, honestly, the more I look through this team, the more I feel like this is a hold.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. I was trying to give as many options as I possibly can here.
Not every team needs to make a move.
No, not at all. I completely agree. It's a good team, though. Really good team. I think these rookies are going to help you tremendously.
Now, let me ask you this. Last thing I'll say. 10-man. Would you consider Marvin and Neighbors and take whoever falls to the 105?
Not with his quarterbacks, no.
Well, at worst, you're getting May or Daniels.
I think I'd rather take my shot with the 105, hoping that Malik falls to me, and I get my quarterback and wide receiver. And then if Malik doesn't fall to me, and if Rome's there, that's fine. Or if Rome's not, if it's not Rome, then I can get another quarterback.
I'll just throw out this world. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying,
let's see. Let's play it out.
You know that Disney Plus series, What If?
What if?
What if? You know, how could it look? What if we went Marvin and we went Neighbors? And then at the 105, that means we are left with a Daniels or a May. 100% guaranteed to get Daniels or May.
We have to convince him to get, not necessarily. 3 and 4 is going to take Daniels or May. We'll probably be left with
no, my friend.
JJ McCarthy.
No, my friend. Not true.
How's that not true?
You said the 103 and the 104 are going to take Daniels and May, right?
That's what I'm believing.
So what, you get Caleb at the 105 then?
Right. Okay, so right, because it gets pushed back. Sorry. I completely forgot about that. So Caleb gets pushed. Gets pushed to the 103. 104. Right.
Now we're cooking, I think.
Well, we're cooking. I hear you.
I don't know, man. I mean, let's say those 3 quarterbacks land in favorable spots. Okay, so play out the world here. Caleb's a Bear. Daniels is a Commander. May's a Viking. I'm taking Marvin and Malik, and you make the decision for me.
Well, we have to convince him to take Jaden Daniels or Drake May.
What?
Drake May. Well, he says convince me to taking Jaden Daniels.
Well, that's a decision he's gonna have to make on his own.
He said took me to the valley.
A preference there, but
yeah.
For me with Daniels, I can't tell you he's gonna be a franchise quarterback. I can tell you he's gonna score fantasy points. Same thing I said last year about Anthony Richardson. I can't tell you if he's going to be a fantasy quarterback or a real good quarterback, but I can tell you he's going to score fantasy points. Same thing we said about Justin Fields. Can't tell you if he's going to be a good quarterback, but I can tell you he's going to score fantasy points. Same thing with Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, we know these guys are going to score fantasy points because of what they can do on the ground. And you might not like that Justin Fields comparison, but hey, Justin Fields last offseason was going for multiple firsts. So if you don't like the player, you can sell him at the right time. So I don't know, man. I'm really open to this. Let's just say, like, if all quarterbacks go to good spots. This is a lot more risky if one of these guys is in New England.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what. I think Daniels is confirmed commander. It's May. It's May that it's going to be interesting where he goes to. You know, I mean, he can go to New York. People are going to hate New York. People are going to hate New England. People are going to love the Vikings if they trade up for May or Daniels or May or JJ. I think JJ will be in play here. Like if JJ goes to the Vikings and Daniel goes to, if Daniel goes, he doesn't want Daniels, right? Hypothetically, but May goes to the Giants, but the Vikings trade up for JJ. I think I envision a lot of people doing that. Taking J.J. McCarthy over Daniels.
I think in a 12-man, I don't do this, but in a 10-man, those startable quarterbacks are a little bit easier to find. So I actually do think Marvin and Malik makes sense. I mean, let's say you get Drake May here, right? Then you get Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones is your quarterback 3, but your wide receiver room, you can start 4 of them. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Ayuk, and Waddle is your 4. I kind of love that. Again, let's hope they all go to good spots, but that's the last little nugget I'll drop in there. The roll says Daniels is Jameson Williams with more speed. I don't know. I understand.
You're just talking about like on the ground without like arm talent, like just as a runner in space. Is that what you're saying?
I would say Jameson Williams got more speed. That guy would have ran like a 4.3 flat if he was healthy. What do you mean by that, the role?
I think that's what he means. Just as a runner.
Okay.
Daniels is Jameson Williams with more speed. I'm calling it. So it's just more like a planting of the flag. Like he thinks Daniels is faster than Jameson as a player.
Right.
We weren't really able to see Williams be his true form at the NFL Combine, obviously.
I just don't understand. Like, are we saying
in better hands?
Are we saying he's? So I guess you're saying he's gonna bust then? Yeah. I just don't think. I just feel like these rushing quarterbacks, man. There's so little risk in their first 3 years. You know.
And I think this is what I've been thinking about. I've been wrapping my head around that because, yeah, the first 3 years have been great for these rushing quarterbacks, but then you're in this cycle of getting another quarterback, of trying to figure out how to pivot.
But who cares? Because you can always get draft picks for those guys.
Sure. I mean, like, you definitely can, and then you get the next running quarterback, and then you're in the same cycle. So, like, I mean, I'm happy to cycle it through, but like in that span, in that width, like in that same breath, like could you have just gotten a Joe Burrow? Could you have just gotten, Jalen Hurts?
You could have got a Bryce Young too.
100%.
There's two sides to the coin. We don't talk about Bryce Young enough. We talk about, well, you could have got C.J. Stroud last year, but you took A-Rich. Well, you also could have had Bryce Young because Bryce Young was drafted over C.J. Stroud consensus.
Just thinking out loud, I've always thought about that. It's like I get the rushing upside, and like you hope that it hits because he can be a franchise quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But
A-Rich, the role says A-Rich is a better prospect than Daniels. I think he's definitely a better athlete. I'm trying to understand the prospect part of it.
I think Anthony Richardson is a better athlete. Yeah, like you said, he's a better runner on the ground. He's stronger. He's more physical. Where I can guarantee you that Daniels has over Anthony Richardson is his throwing ability. One of the biggest concerns
of the quarterback position in general, right?
Yeah. One of the biggest concerns of Anthony Richardson is his touch, his passing ability. He was great physical athlete for fantasy. That's why we all love mobile quarterbacks. But
I wonder what the chat thinks. What do you guys think? Who's a better prospect, Daniels or A-Rich? I don't.
Daniels accuracy.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about accuracy, my man, we should not start with A-Rich as the.
As the.
I don't know. But I guess it's up for debate. Mike, by the way, we are like, you won't find many channels who were as in as Bryce Young as us this offseason. We were telling everyone to trade for him. We are with you. We don't think Bryce Young is dead. We don't think he's automatically a bust. We like Bryce Young, absolutely. I'm just telling you, there's a wide range of outcomes. Chef makes a good point here. A-Rich jumped to the 101 after crushing the combine, but Daniels can't get to the 101 because of Caleb. Yeah, we agree.
That is such a good point, and I don't know why I never thought about that, because I was always still Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud still over Anthony Richardson. I switched on Bryce and C.J., but I was still always over those two quarterbacks over Anthony Richardson. No one's. But Jaden Daniels didn't run, did he? What did he do?
No,
did he do
Daniels didn't test at all.
He didn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question, man. Daniels and A-Rich. I wonder what people think. Who's the better prospect? Because if we're honest, playing the quarterback position, to me, it's a no-brainer. At least Daniels is the much better quarterback.
Agreed.
But if we're talking overall athlete and fantasy asset, I couldn't tell. It's probably A-Rich. But guy who is a better at quarterbacking and offense, 100% in my mind, Jaden Daniels. I mean, we're talking about Anthony Richardson hasn't completed over 60% of his passes in any year anywhere. Florida, Colts, accuracy is a huge issue right now. We were hoping to see him take a huge step, but he hasn't taken that step yet. I'm curious what Twitter would think of that.
Yeah, there's definitely conversations to be had.
Let's put up a tweet. I'm curious. I want to know.
Anthony Richardson, the next Justin Fields. That's my concern, Mike. I'll be honest with you. That is my concern. That's always my concern with these mobile quarterbacks coming in. That's my concern with. Now, who is a better passer out of the three? Jaden Daniels was a better passer from that, if I remember correctly, than Justin Fields coming out of college, and a better passer than Anthony Richardson. I know that for sure.
Definitely
so I think
Jaden
Daniels. I can't remember Justin Fields coming out of college. Is Jaden Daniels better than?
He was efficient, but he wasn't as efficient as Daniels was in college.
As Daniels, right? Yeah. So like, at the moment, I feel like if I were to tell you who was going to get the second contract, from what I know, it may sound dumb. It feels like Jaden Daniels, based off of how he plays the quarterback position.
I think it's too early to really know the answer to
yes,
that at all.
And that's 100%. And now this is what I was going to say. Now Anthony Richardson can definitely take the strides to be that. This is why we always lean on Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson has a ceiling to be the best player in the NFL.
There you go. Because if he has the ability to take the strides as a passer and be crazy on the ground, that can be incredible. And yeah, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. Or Cam Newton versus Lamar Jackson. Well, you can put both of those guys in consideration. We were talking about Anthony Richardson as the best prospect quarterback size-wise since Cam Newton, and how he was a great passer. Cam Newton was a great passer, and he was also incredibly mobile. I wouldn't say great, but he was definitely good. Anyways. I agree with everything you're saying. I can see both sides of Anthony Richardson being successful, but I can also see Anthony Richardson being the next Justin Fields, where it's like, you're just good for fantasy, brother. Thank you so much for your service, but you're not a franchise quarterback. And some teams like that. Some teams don't. Some fantasy people like that. Some fantasy people don't.
Oftentimes, people who are anti-rushing quarterbacks settle for the guys who are fringe top 12 rather than the guys who are winning leagues, and I get it. Like, it's just, you have to sell them at the right time. You can't be holding the bag, and that's tough to identify when the right time is. But yeah, for fantasy, it's a completely different game. We really don't care. I know that I can draft a player, and if they're good, I know that I can go out and trade them if I don't believe in them long term. You just have to do it at the right time. That's what's difficult. You don't want to be stuck holding the bag. I did just tweet out, by the way, so if you guys want to vote, go vote. I'll put a link in the chat.
I think a lot of people are going to say Anthony Richardson.
I think so too. But I think they forget how disinterested people were in A-Rich before the combine. Before the combine, he was not locked and loaded first round pick.
Well,
I think he's absolutely the better athlete. I don't know about prospect. See, even Cam Newton, though. Cam Newton was not as bad as a passer in college, if I remember correctly. Like, he was actually pretty decent at Auburn.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Let me double check.
And he was decent. He was decent in the NFL. I don't think he was like. I don't think he was as bad as Anthony Richardson.
His last year, he transferred to Auburn. He completed 66% of his passes, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. We often forget how poor Anthony Richardson was as a quarterback, throwing the ball, coming out of Florida. I mean, just a friendly reminder here, never completed over 60% of his passes. His 1 year as a starter, under 54% of his passes completed, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Cam Newton is probably the closest. Anyway, we're going down a rabbit trail here, aren't we?
Yeah, but I mean, that's fantasy. That's the.
Who's a better prospect, Ron? Who's a better prospect? I think if the question who's a better athlete, it'd be no brainer. But prospects, I don't know. We appreciate y'all. Hit the like button for us. Our like goal today was 50. We're only 2 likes away. I got one more in me.
Damn.
I got one more in me.
Okay.
I got one more.
He has one more. If we can finish it right before 12:30, that's phenomenal. That's why I was telling Ellen that we can do something at 12:30.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hold this guy up if we are still going, but
Yeah, well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do this last one. Knock this out in 20 minutes.
I want to give him a good review still.
Yeah, I think we can give him a good review in 20 minutes.
Let's see. Scoops. What's up, Scoops? I'll stay on if Badaki has to leave then. All right, let's have a look at the team here. Why don't you go ahead and read the context for us? So I just sent the hotline to Grayth, by the way.
Awesome. Scoops league settings, so it's not much. He tells his league settings, says context coming off a rebuild and wanting to compete this year. Thanks a ton. Okay, so 12 teams, start 11, half PPR, SuperFlex, 1 point tight end premium. Can start up to 6 wide receivers, which is exciting.
Scoop's in the building. I'm guessing that's Mark here.
Scoopity doop. All right. Wanting to compete, he said. Let me just pull up his team. A second. And Porter.
Okay, cool. Start 11. That's a pretty big roster, and it's 12 man. Start 11, tight end premium. There's a lot to think about here with this one.
There is a lot. All right, you look like you are 4th in the rankings. You kind of have a Thanos here, which you literally named Thanos. Josh Allen, Lamar, Breeze, Monty, Puka, Wilson.
His wide receiver depth and running back depth, I wouldn't call him a Thanos.
Yeah, he's not Thanos. Quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold. You do have the 102, so I'm assuming you might be getting a quarterback there. We'll definitely talk about that. A good QB3 is Aaron Rodgers, which is great when you get that QB2 at the 102. Running back position, Bijan Robinson, and it kind of just goes down from there. Not a solid RB2. Jaleel McLaughlin is interesting if they don't draft somebody, but still need another running back in this backfield tremendously. Wide receivers, once again, you can start up to 6 wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Mike Evans are your top 5 wide receivers I can say we are comfortable starting. And the rest kind of falls off here with Burks, Palmer, Tutu, and the list kind of goes on there. So we might have to get a little bit better in that position. This is a tight end premium, and you don't have good tight ends.
We also don't have our 25 first or second or third.
Yeah. And you only have 3 picks in this draft here.
Yeah, draft capital is a little bit limited, but all right, we're coming off a rebuild and wanting to compete this year. I wonder where all the draft capital went. Maybe
it's Justin Jefferson. That's the only one I can think of. Unless he made a couple moves. Justin Jefferson, Drake London. Did you trade for Drake London?
Maybe.
Was it Bijan Robinson?
So who has the 101 here? Because that guy's controlling the draft, obviously. And I'll be honest, your starting lineup makes me really consider Marvin at the 101 here because of how deep your lineups are.
Well, the 101 might take Caleb. He has team 5. Sorry, Bryce Young, Trey Lance. Shout out to Trey Lance, miss you every day. Brian Tannehill.
Look at his wide receivers too.
Yeah, but he can get some more opportunities at the 104, 105. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think wide receivers are just as important as quarterbacks here. And for that team 5, It should be Caleb. At least that's how I'm thinking.
Yeah, or he could go Marvin and just take whatever quarterbacks fall to him. I think some people will do that this year. That's tough because, yeah, that guy, I don't know. I can't read that guy. I don't know. But let's talk about our options with our draft picks here. And Mark, if you're with us, let us know anything you want to talk about while we're walking through. Just jump in at any moment. And by the way, anyone who's watching, if you want your team reviewed by us, become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put the direct link in the chat. But we got 3 picks here. So it's either going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. or Caleb Williams, and I think that's fine either way. I am not 100% opposed to trading back.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking here. That's exactly what I was thinking, but I'm not sure what you can get for the 102.
I kind of only want to trade back to the 103. But we'll look at options. Let's say we did stick and pick. I don't think Bowers is available. It's a tight end premium. So I'm assuming it's Rome Odunze. I could be wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it is Bowers. Maybe McCarthy's here if he goes to a favorable spot. And then we can't really tell you who the best available player will be at the 301 at this point. But scenario 2, trading back. Let's look at some options. I don't think I trade back from the 107. I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I think the main trade back here is the 102. Would you agree?
Yeah, 102. Just thinking about what we can get here for the 102.
Who's got the 103? Is it that Thanos team?
Yeah, Thanos.
So, like, even in this league, Reed is more than enough for me. Like
103 and Reed for the 102.
Yeah, like, easily, I might have to give him something in return, but I don't really know what I could give him. Like the 301, maybe? I don't know. But I kind of want to do like a 2-for-1 in this deal, so I don't really know how much I love that. I mean, what else do we have on our roster? This might be tough.
Yeah, I think with the depth that we have is not. It's like I think he's just one player away from having the wide receiver. Well, not really just one player, but the wide receiver room to just be solidified, and then having to build later on somehow. Because remember, start 6 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Jefferson, London, Smith, Jackson, Mike Evans. So having Reed, and then at the 107 going Bowers, another quarterback, maybe even Rome if he falls, or Brian Thomas Jr. That kind of changes a lot of things here.
I just don't know if Bowers is going to be there. I don't. Clearly, if you can get that deal done for just Reed, you do it. I just don't think it's possible. But like we always say, we're going to give you as many options as we can. Let's look more towards the 105. Maybe that's a better pivot. Or the 104, sorry. Who has the 104? It's Mason
104
Windu.
T5, yeah.
And I don't really think he has any reason to pivot up. Because the guy needs everything.
Yeah, even if he pivots up, like, we want something in return. He has nothing to give us in return.
He has nothing, so he'd be happy with anything that falls there. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to move down for second rounders, but that's probably what he'd offer. Mark says, I've been in talks for Jacobs in the 104 for the 102, but wasn't crazy about the initial offer. You know what?
I'm not in love with that trade.
You don't like that?
The 104 for the 102 and Jacobs. Sorry, the 104 and Jacobs for the 102. I think I would rather lean on a wide receiver in this one.
Well, let's be honest. We don't need a wide receiver. We need a quarterback too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, I think moving back to the 104...
It's moving back because you can get... Like, Marvin Harrison is not going to help you in this scenario.
Oh, yeah. Marvin absolutely would. I'm just saying so would a Daniels and so would a Malik Neighbors, because that's the worst you're going to end up with there.
I'm thinking it out here.
I wonder if you can extend it. Like, so you said that this was his offer. I wonder if I can also get one of those seconds. All right, I'll do it if you give me the 201 and I'll give you the 301. That would be an easy yes for me. Because, by the way, you're not going to have a lot of opportunity to improve your running back room. Let's be 100% realistic about this. This deal is heavily in your favor when you think about the needs of your team and where you currently are in the draft. Where are you going to improve at running back? You're going to maybe improve at the 301? You don't have a starting RB2. This kills 2 birds with 1 stone, in my opinion.
Where's the 105, 106? Joe Braun, Anthony Richardson.
Personally, Mark, I love that deal because I think it's putting you in a spot where you're getting one of the players that one of the players we love in the draft, and you're fixing your RB2 spot straight away with that deal.
I'm just thinking. I'm trying to work out how this draft is gonna work. How this draft is gonna run.
And that guy's 105 as well, so there's no.
He has the 107, where like you could squeeze another quarterback there.
Yeah, you could. But we don't know that's gonna happen though.
Yeah. My initial thought is that I don't love that trade, and I would rather stick with the 102 and getting Marvin Harrison Jr. or Caleb Williams. For me personally, I get getting Josh Jacobs is definitely going to help you because it's going to be difficult to try and get another running back on this team.
Why don't we put names to this then? So, Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. and whatever you get in the 301. At the 104, you're getting Daniels or Neighbors. You're also getting Jacobs. And at the 201, what are you getting at the 201? McConkey? Or Worthy? Or Benson? Or Brooks?
No idea who goes at the 101, but I'm thinking Bowers would be there at the 107 based on league talks.
Okay.
Well, that's great. That really helps your tight end room.
Let me ask you, Badaki. Let's just say it is Caleb Williams and whoever's there at the 301. Okay, let's play in this world here for a second. Hypothetical land. Let's say it's Caleb's, whoever's at the 301. Let's say it's Daniels, and then let's say it's Benson, for example. So would you rather have Caleb Williams and whoever the 301 is, or Daniels, Jacobs, and Benson?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would rather have the other side way that this is built.
And let's play it the other way around then. Let's say it's Marvin in the 301, or Neighbors, Jacobs, and McConkey.
Well, when it comes down to the neighbor side, I still think he should be prioritizing quarterback.
Okay, so you could make that May then instead if you want.
Yeah, whichever one. I think to prioritize quarterback at the 102 is key here, because you don't have a strong quarterback room, and now you could trade down from the 102 to then let that decision be made for you to the 104 or the 103, whether you're happy with that, and then get some draft capital on top of it. Because like if you can sell the 102 for the 104 plus something, and knowing that you're still gonna get one of those 4 quarterbacks, I think it's difficult.
I gotta be honest, Mark. I absolutely love this deal, and you guys get our reviews because you get both of our opinions. But I think this is a huge W for you if you can get that done. I think it makes so much sense for you. But
and the 107, look, your one piece out of this would definitely be like, well, you're getting Brock Bowers hypothetically, like you said, and then a quarterback. Still are going to be weak at the wide receiver position, wide receiver 6, and the running back position. But you get two.
I think like within your league though, in a 12-man start 11, the fact that you have what's your starting lineup again at wide receiver? Jefferson, London, Smith, Jason, Evans. I don't think many people are going to be beating you there. Like, I get it, but how many people have as deep as a roster than you already do? You might already be the strongest wide receiver room in your entire league. I think you are, actually, to be honest. So I definitely get it, but your entire league is struggling to fill out those wide receivers, not just you.
Yeah, no question. So, look, either way, whichever way you like to go there, Mark, that can definitely help you. Whichever way you feel. So what's the case for JJ over Bowers at the 107?
I think the only case is if he goes to like, because this is tied in premium. I think the only case is if he goes to like the Vikings or something, a really favorable spot. Otherwise, it's Bowers for me.
Yeah.
Or if Bowers goes to a spot we really hate.
Yeah. 100%. If you get Marv and you hope JJ falls to you at the 107.
Yeah. That's another scenario you could.
Well, if that's the thing, another thing is if JJ goes to the Vikings, that means you have to envision potentially maybe one of those other quarterbacks or one of those other wide receivers falling to you at the 107. Like that means where does Daniels go then, or May go then, right? We
Yeah.
have Caleb, Marvin, Jaden. Then you have Neighbors. Then you have JJ at the 105, and at the 106, I guess that's Neighbors or May. So I guess he could potentially fall out of that quarterback range if JJ, there's a hypothetical there, or Roma Dunze. But I think that's too much risk there. So I think I would still be going quarterback at the 102, me personally.
Yeah. Trying to think of like a tight end pivot here, but
The only other pivot, tight end pivot, yeah, that's tough.
I would be kind of interested in like an Ayuk Pitts deal.
Or
that's what I don't know the answer to yet.
The only other one I would think of to pivot off of is the top two. Like you can do 2-for-1 for JJ or London. Not necessarily sure if you want to do that though, and what does that look like for you? But Zach is right. Like your wide receiver room is probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Like, and the tier down would probably be like, like DJ Moore and Zay Flowers for hypothetical, right? Like a DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, where you still feel like that's not enough for someone like a JJ or a London, and not that many people have those two, or Chris Olaves and Jalen Waddles.
Says he's open to tearing down. He just doesn't know what makes sense. I think if you're moving off of Jefferson, like in this league, with your strengths already being where they are, I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense, but like Garrett Wilson's overvalued in my opinion.
Well, there's
not a natural tier down.
The
Unless you're
part is like
getting into that top 5. That guy who has the 104 and the 105. The other option there is never mind. He has no wide receivers.
He has no wide receivers, and yeah. So like, this is what makes it difficult because that middle of that range for Justin Jefferson to get still be within that top 5 and get a wide receiver in return is just not there.
There is one scenario that makes sense, and that's JJ if you can get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Hawkinson. And then you'd have to offer something back in return. I just don't know what that would be. You guys would have to work that out in a deal. But that's definitely interesting to me, if that's a type of structure that you can rock with. Trying to find a team that has a really good tight end and a wide receiver we'd like to tier down to, like an AJ Brown and a Trey McBride would be easy. I just don't know. Again, I just don't know what that piece would be. And this is where you can reach out to that owner and say like, hey, what would get us there in your opinion? And maybe there's a reasonable offer out there, and maybe there's not, but it's certainly worth like we've always said, opening as many doors as you can. Is there another team out there that makes sense? Ayuk and Pitts. I don't know if that's enough though. Ayuk plus Pitts. I think I might even want more for JJ, and I don't know that they'd be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Like if they can add a swap on there, like they're 20. They're pretty bad. So I'll take their 25 first, and I'll give them my 25 second. I think that in this format would put me there. Is there another team out there? No, certainly not Kittle. Not Njoku.
I think getting the tight end is definitely a good move. I guess I don't want to force the tight end if this is the difficult part. Like if the 107 is there for you, Mark, and that is Brock Bowers, then maybe the best thing to do is trade JJ away after the NFL draft. Now, that's hard to say because if Brock Bowers goes to a terrible landing spot, then you're probably not taking him.
Yeah, the other idea is instead of getting a Hawkinson, you could get Ingram for JJ in a second, for Amon-Ra, Ingram in a first. I think would definitely put me over the edge there too.
Yep, I like that one as well.
but I think that's really the main.
Yeah, I think it's 2-for-1s with a tight end added to that instead of doing like you still tier down at the wide receiver position, but getting a tight end is ideal here.
Team
I would also
1 has Laporta and Kincaid. Would you do Wilson and Kincaid?
Yeah, 100%.
I would too. I just don't know if that guy would be okay with it, but because Garrett Wilson's a little bit overvalued right now, but I don't know. Maybe that guy would value him. I don't know. You could try those options. What else were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say like you can do 2-for-1 at the wide receiver position too if you feel like the tight ends aren't doing it for you. But once again, that's gonna leave you with another big hole there at the tight end position.
Yeah.
So tight end, wide receiver is ideal to tier down, but I'm not opposed to wide receiver for Justin Jefferson, and then maybe buying one of these not younger tight ends, but sending something my second in 26 to get somebody of a lower tier at the tight end position since it's tight end premium, like a Michael Mayer.
I think I would try as well, like the 301 for Dallas Goedert. He is so... No one likes him right now. So just a random deal that I just thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like I'm going for these lower tier tight ends just to get you a starter. I'm looking at Dalton Schultz, a Jake Ferguson. I know you're not a huge believer in Cole Kmet, but I'll still go Cole Kmet in this format just because you need somebody. Luke Musgrave is out there, but I don't know what that price looks like.
Some of those might cost more, but
yeah, I'm just thinking about just getting somebody that's going to be starting for you at the tight end position, because at the moment, I don't think we can say that you have anyone. I guess Noah Fant, maybe Daniel Bellinger. You hope if
Colby Parkinson, maybe
Darren Waller retires, but you just need somebody at that tight end position, and I would rather pay the least amount possible than trying to break the bank here.
Last thing I'll say on this Jacobs deal is the more I think about it, the more I love it. I know I've been pounding the table for it, but you don't have your picks next year, Mark. You don't. So you kind of actually need Jacobs. It's going to be tough for you to improve that running back room, and there's no reason to not go all in, considering you have no real player there. I mean, I think the more I think about this, I would even settle for like the 102 and the 104 plus Jacobs and the 208. Like, I really think I'd be flexible to get this deal done. But I know we disagree on that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mark, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want us to talk through? I think you're a little bit limited because you don't have much capital, so there's not many moves that we can make. And also, the moves that we can make, that one guy has both the 104 and the 105, so it's a little bit tough to come up with more scenarios there. JSN is in a sell high. In fact, I don't really want to sell any of these wide receivers outside of Justin if we can get one of those deals done, because wide receivers are so important to you in this format. We're not selling Bijan. And I don't think you can sell Trevor or Rodgers for what you'd want. He says thinks that helps a lot.
No worries, man. I think you have some good options, and hopefully that works for you, and hopefully the draft pans out the right way. Use your fantasy hotline. Let us know if you have any other questions.
Yeah.
Like you said, and let us know how the NFL draft goes or your rookie draft goes, because this is an interesting team. And a lot of things can turn around if you make the right moves, of course.
The 101 guy's interested in Trevor. I mean, yeah, I think we would both send Trevor for the 101 if that's the offer. You know, like, I don't think he actually would do that, but if you're telling me you can get the 101 for Trevor Lawrence, then do that in a heartbeat. I mean, I know Steven talked about it. He took that deal in a 14-man league. But I think most leagues it won't be possible. But, like, if he wants, like, Trevor and, you know, the 107, I wouldn't do it. Not in this format.
I agree.
We appreciate you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We thank you for the support. Use your fantasy hotline. Have that ability. Zach is going to send you the whiteboard. You can kind of reference it going back and forth. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I'm going to send you this right now, and your name is Scoops over on Discord. So I'm going to send you this white. So you got this. And you can bookmark this video. You can watch it later if you want. That's going to be it for today, guys. We appreciate all of you big time. Mike said, you guys only doing roster breakdowns for people who are on the Mother Flocker tier right now. Yes, sir. The only people who are getting Dynasty Team reviews are the people who are Mother Flocker members with the promo code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. I put a direct link in the chat if you want to sign up. If you're watching this later, it's also in the description. What I would suggest when you sign up is to click the instant access button, submit your team. That way you can get your team reviewed as early as possible over here. But we appreciate y'all big time. I don't think we have time for 5 Qs, Charlie. I'm so sorry. But again, I don't want to keep selling it. But, the people who do sign up with our code, this is one of the most undervalued things you get when you get to be a member with us is you get a DM to us. You get to ask us those questions, So that is also a part of the package, along with the rookie report, along with unlimited access to the calculator, our Dynasty trade show, and obviously supporting us. But that's it for today. We do appreciate y'all big time. We'll see you very soon. All love. Enjoy your weekend.
Love.